All right, everybody, welcome to the Spaghetti and Meat Boys podcast, the only podcast that has helped develop the algorithm for the Cupid Shuffle. I, of course, am your host. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right. And to my left here is my co-host. To the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. And joining us over video is Ian. How you boys doing today?
I feel
Very
like now
good.
kicking.
I feel fantastic. $1,000 bucks.
$1,000. So we've gotten together tonight and this fine Sunday evening to talk a little bit about some anime films, some in particular. And as you guys know, we've created a 30-team bracket of anime films, and we're gonna have them each go head to head, round by round, to see who comes out victorious as the weebiest anime film of all.
The weebiest.
The weebiest, yes. That's the trophy we'll definitely be paying for.
Oh, we should make a trophy.
A trophy. Who are we gonna award it to? The movie? We'll call
Yes.
up. Yeah, I'll just get my pal Miyazaki on the phone and say, "Hey, man,
We'll mail it.
we'll
Yeah.
mail it to him." No, but the stipulation was each anime film had to be. It could be based off an existing property, but just not a filmed property already. So it can be based off a manga or a folktale or something like that, but no TV movies. So like the end of Evangelion, doesn't meet the requirements because we'd
The
be
third
required
Naruto
to watch.
movie.
The third Naruto.
Yeah, exactly.
The easily
Battle of the
best.
Crescent Moon or something.
Yeah, Crescent
That's
Moon
all right.
Guardian, something like that.
You says
Yeah.
he says
It
or
wouldn't have been
something.
fair. It would have swept.
You say or something like you don't own it, like it's not 10 feet from you right now. The third Naruto.
It's not,
film.
is it?
You
Yeah,
own the third
remember
Naruto
you wouldn't
film.
let me take it.
Oh, you're talking to me. I thought you were talking to Jarrett.
No.
I was gonna say.
I'll
Yeah.
point directly at the camera when I'm talking to you. Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Thank you.
Ian.
Thank you.
Yeah. But and then we tried to make sure, I guess, that a director was always represented more than once. But not every single. So we couldn't include like every Miyazaki film because he's got like 8 billion, I think, masterpieces.
Yeah, I think that's close. 8 billion.
But I think the lowest number of times a director appeared is 2, and the highest number is 5. And then we would try and match them up round by round with the first round by some kind of common thread. Sometimes it's a little bit of a stretch. But for anyone who wants to follow along, if anybody wants to follow along and take on the task of watching 30 anime movies in 15
Link
weeks,
in the description.
it'll be somewhere. I haven't really. This is one of the first times recording, so we haven't really hosted anything yet. But I'll definitely link it somewhere or make it downloadable so people can follow along at home. I think we're all gonna fill out our own personal brackets, but the goal of this podcast is to create one uniform general consensus bracket. Is that cool with you guys? Like as far as
Yeah.
For
And
now.
for good, we have 3 people here, so it'll be pretty easy to like we won't have to worry about ties or anything like that. Somebody's always gonna have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Mhm. I
As
can't
long as
wait
we can
to
all
see.
make a decision every time.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
think-
looking forward to a tiebreaker.
Oh, like
However, it
for
comes
you to
down
be the
to one guy.
tiebreaker. For you to be the tiebreaker.
No,
Can
no,
you-
I just want that content.
Oh,
Well, it's a
Or we-
good thing that you're part of the content creation, so you can make it
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah,
exactly.
No,
Just don't decide.
yeah. Everything's
I don't
better
know if
than
you-
Gits.
We're not going.
Oh,
there.
is
We're
that
not
what it's
going
called?
there.
Gits.
Gits, Ghost in the Shell. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if you can. I don't know if I'll allow you to have that kind of power, that tie-breaking power. I think that's a little. It'll go to your head. You'll actually become an anime villain before this is even. We'll be in round 3, and this
Wait.
man will. All right, but yeah. So for today's matchup, and we say today, but we've watched these movies throughout the week. We have 2 fantastic films, if I do say so myself. We have. Let me pull these up so I don't butcher the. What's up? Laughing at me. Let me pull these up so I don't butcher the directors' names. That'd be really embarrassing.
Oh yeah.
I say as I'm showing my hand right now. So we have 1988 Isao Takahata film, Grave of the Fireflies, produced by Studio Ghibli. So that's a classic. And then the other one that we have is a lot newer and
A lot,
very
30 years newer.
30 years newer and tonally very, very different. Is
Yeah.
the 2018 Mamoru Hosoda film Mirai. So those are the two that we've matched up together. What do you guys think? Just initial reactions, not to the films themselves, but what did you see connected between the two of them? Is the reason why we had picked these as a matchup. What were you
Viewer
going in
apathy.
expecting at least? What?
Viewer apathy.
Apathy.
Yeah.
Viewer apathy?
Yes.
As in, like, us viewing
Yes.
the film?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I picked these because I knew you'd be apathetic watching, spoiler, children dying and
Yeah. And like
children growing
as
up.
well as yeah. It's just it takes. I didn't think it would take 2 movies to make me realize like I fucking hate kids. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was watching the films with Jarrett, and the whole time he was like, God, I hate people who don't spank their children, man. Fuck these things. Like,
I was just tearing apart Barbie dolls while we were watching.
Wow.
he was performing abortions. Like, that's how much I hate these kids. Now, Ian, what did you think about the initial connections? Like, what were you going in expecting from these two? Had you seen them before?
I had seen neither of them before.
Interesting.
But I guess I knew that they were both. Well, I didn't know. I hadn't heard of Mirai. Mirai with an R.
Mhm.
I hadn't heard of Mirai before, but I had definitely heard of Grave of the Fireflies. But I guess I knew just from looking at their titles, or not their titles, but their box art and that kind of stuff, that they were both about children.
Yeah.
And I guess that is sort of children growing up, except in learning very different things about kind of the same thing, kind of family. Yeah, that's as far as I got with the connection
So
with children and family.
That's why, because I was the one who, I guess, crafted the bracket. And like select me and my partner Lydia crafted the whole thing. But the reason I had picked it, and this was going in at least blind to one of the films. I had never seen Mirai until now, which I kind of regret because I wanted to see it when it came out. I remember it got a lot of Oscar buzz. And obviously I've seen Grave of the Fireflies because, I mean, that's a pretty iconic film as far as as anime goes. But
Yeah.
I was thinking of just central themes and core themes was like sibling relationships. And so just blindly, I was like, I'm gonna put these two together. So I think it worked out, at least in this common thread, is what I would have to say. I know some of these that we're gonna get to, I've paired them together from some loose plot description I've read and been like, yeah, this will probably work.
Yeah.
And it'll probably end up really bad.
I'm sure it'll be great.
It's really
Maybe
hard.
that'll work to their benefit.
It's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be to pair 30 random films together.
Mhm.
Like,
I'm impressed you got 30. I mean,
Yeah.
The thing is, excuse me, I had to whittle it down from I think 36, mainly because I wanted to include every Miyazaki film ever because there's too many.
You don't need to include House Moving Castle. You really don't. You really don't.
I am here for the House Moving Castle slander. I was getting
I am
confused
as
with
well.
Castle in the Sky though, so it's makes it for a really fun viewing when you're trying to watch Castle.
Watch it first. It's a very unpopular opinion to dislike Howl's Moving Castle, which
I don't
is
know.
whack.
I've seen a lot of slander for it. So,
Yeah.
but I guess we'll start with just one movie going through. So I say we start with Grave of the Fireflies, as it is the elder of the two films.
It is the elder. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the Isao Takahata film, Grave of the Fireflies from '88, and this was a Ghibli film. I'm pretty sure didn't Takahata co-found Ghibli with Miyazaki? He was one of the co-founders, right?
I think there's more than just.
I mean, but I said
yes,
one
yes,
of the
yes.
co-founders as
Yes.
well, like in the '80s. Have you guys seen any other Takahata films aside from Grave of the Fireflies?
Potentially.
If
I'm
I
not-
have,
I'm not
I guess
sure.
I'll rattle them off. At least the ones that
Okay.
we've included on this bracket. You have The Tale of Princess Kaguya.
Nope.
My Neighbors the Yamadas.
Nope.
Only Yesterday.
Nope.
Nope.
God, I know.
Is that? Oh, that was the Beatles movie, right?
No, that was a Help.
Oh, sorry.
No, and then Pompoko, the one where there's like everyone's a raccoon, or there's a whole.
I know
village
of
raccoon.
Pompoko, but I've not seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all
Same.
of those except for I
Wait,
think,
maybe I have. It doesn't matter. But maybe
well,
I
have you or haven't you, Ian?
I don't. It sounds like something I've seen, but
Yeah.
I can't say.
I think you'd remember it though. I mean, you do have the worst memory.
You'd be
of anyone
surprised.
I know.
I've seen Howl's Moving Castle like 3 times, and I don't remember anything about it.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, that's.
I think that's pretty telling about how good the film is if you can't remember it
Yeah.
after 3 viewings.
Yeah, I like even trash movies. So if I don't like it, it's really bad.
No, I think the only one that I didn't include out of the ones I just named on our list was My Neighbors the Yamadas, which I was kind of sad about, but that was one of the ones I had to throw out. Just based on like I couldn't match it up with anything as well as his other ones. But so Grave of the Fireflies is really seen as his
Magnum
really
opus.
magnum opus, maybe seminal work kind of thing. I mean, it's the most notoriety and for good reason. It follows for anyone who hasn't seen it, which I don't know why you're listening to this if you haven't seen it, because we're gonna spoil the hell out of these movies. If you don't care about spoilers, it's still a great experience even after you know what happens. And this one's kind of a hard one to spoil.
Yeah.
Because it opens with the kid being like, "Here's the day I died," and then flashes back. So we do know the ending from the beginning. But anyway, it follows two kids and a brother and sister in during World War II in I think Kobe, Japan is the city they live in. Yeah, it's Kobe, Japan.
I don't know.
Like that.
God, you guys didn't do your research. Podcast partners. No, it's fine.
That's what we have you here for.
No, but so it follows them after their village is like firebombed by good old America, and
Are they even bombs though? They're more like
firebomb,
Fire sticks.
yeah.
fire sticks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
With
was
oil on them, apparently.
It was a
Yes,
wooden village,
yes.
so it was
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
devastating no matter what it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
They walked
that-
right
yeah.
into that one.
They kind of set themselves up for that one.
Yeah.
Love making light of World War II. But their mom they lose their mom to injuries and they have to go travel to live
To injuries.
to injuries. That's a
And
little,
it's an understatement, but
to,
we'll get there.
to
Yeah.
12th degree burns to 1945th degree burns.
500 Kelvin degree burn.
Yeah.
She was mummified.
She was mummified. Yeah, comically covering her entire body. Well,
Yeah.
not that comically, but.
She looked.
Are you sure you're not the apathetic one?
No, so at first when we were watching this with Jared, I was like, man, I'm kind of uncomfortable right now. And he was like, good, you're supposed to be. And I was like, no, she kind of looks just squishy. Like, she looks just like exposed to meat, like raw meat. It was
Yes.
kind of gross. I think that was probably the grossest part.
Yeah.
Not because it was
Mhm.
explicitly bad or anything. It was just kind of it's just kind of weird. It was kind of a weird texture that the art was.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
It was the most body
Yeah.
horror in a movie that could have had a lot more if they had.
yeah, for a movie.
I mean,
dealing
there were some scenes of like super charred bodies, like in like marionette poses.
with, yeah,
Yeah.
I was ashed over from like nuclear warfare. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they do go live with their aunt, who's a what's the word for it? A total
Raging
cunt.
bitch.
Yeah.
And they
Yes.
decide to leave her oppressive grasp and live on their own. And it shows like the struggles of this kid Seita and his little sister Setsuko. I made sure to write them down so I remember their names.
Yes.
Setsuko.
Smart.
I know, right? As they struggle to find, stuff to eat, pretty much. I mean, that is pretty much the driving conflict. Is they're really hungry a lot. So that's the general plot. Kind of in a roundabout way. I know we went off on a couple of tangents there.
Mm-hmm.
But so first and foremost, what did you feel as far as initial reactions to Grave of the Fireflies? And this was the first time you've seen it, right, Ian?
Yes.
And this is the first time you've seen it before. I watched it with you twice. Okay. So I guess I'll start with you, Ian. What was your first reaction to it?
My first reaction to it, it was always the reason I know of it is because basically everyone says how sad it is.
Yeah.
And sort of like, it was always described to me as a movie that just like rocks you to your core, that like you're not the same for like the next few days. Like, you know, you just be thinking about the movie. But I guess my first initial, so I went into it with that expectation that this is going to be like this, one of the saddest movies I've ever seen. And so my first impression was that I didn't come out of it as sad as I thought I would.
Okay.
I watched this one second. I watched this one after Mirai.
Interesting.
And what? Yeah, I guess that was my first. While the things on screen that were happening were objectively very sad, there was a little bit of disconnect where I didn't feel like I was in it sometimes.
Interesting.
But it was done very well. That was my first reaction.
Yeah. Okay. I like that point that you didn't feel super sad. No, almost apathetic. But I do want to put a pin in that because I do want to come back to that after I hear Jared's initial thoughts. Because I did kind of feel similarly to you on that one. Mm-hmm. But Jared, so I know this is the second time you've seen it, so you can walk us through at least what you thought this time around as compared to last time, if you caught anything new out of it, or just what have been your thoughts about this movie since you first watched it.
So the first time I watched it, I bought it a long time ago. Within 10 years, I'd say like probably 6-ish years ago. And I also had heard throughout the internet that it was a super depressing movie, and I should get ready. I should put on my Marley and Me vest to prepare for the shock. And then I watched it, and it was sad. I sort of felt the same thing, where I was like, I kind of ruined it for myself because I was expecting a lot more. And I think because of that, I didn't remember a whole lot from it. I remember the general premise, and then just kind of maybe bits and pieces here and there. So rewatching it, I was not going in with that expectation, and I did in fact shed some tears at a couple scenes. There were a couple scenes that hit me quite hard.
You watched it here. I did see those tears.
Yes.
Quite impressed.
And I think it's very well made. I will say it's weird. It's like it hit me emotionally more, but I think I actually enjoyed it more first time I watched it.
The first time.
Interesting.
Yeah, if that makes sense. The more I was paying attention, the less I liked it, I guess. No, and I really liked it. But yes.
That's, dare I say, a sick burn.
That is.
Okay, that's.
I see you.
Oof. Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. All right, Paul, can you cut that one, please? Yeah, can you just cut that? There's no Paul, by the way.
We can't afford a Paul.
We cannot afford a Paul.
What about a Ringo?
We can
easily. Ringo would pay us. God.
He's a temp.
Ian, how you feeling about this Ringo slander? I don't know who's your best friend. He's your favorite Beatle.
It's not worth the argument.
Okay. No, I want to go back to what you had said about feeling kind of a little bit like not necessarily as sad as you thought you were.
Yeah.
And I do think a lot of that comes from the hype that's built up with movies. As I have a very, very similar thought to you guys as to where I was told like it's the saddest fucking movie you'll ever see in your life. Which they're like kids die, so like it's really sad.
Yes.
So I kind of went in and I was like, damn, like that kind of rocked me a little bit. But I mean, it's like kind of like a single man tear.
Yeah.
Kind of shit. It wasn't like I didn't bawl. It wasn't like the most gut-wrenching.
Like I've seen movies that aren't necessarily sad, but when the credits roll and it's just in the black and you're just sitting there and you just let the credits roll while it all sinks in.
Yeah.
When Grave of the Fireflies ended, I kind of was like before I saw it, I anticipated that would kind of be my reaction, but I kind of was like, okay.
So and I
was ready to stop watching it as soon as it ended.
Yeah, me too. But I think I was talking to Jared about this. Sorry, we talked about it a little bit before. Yeah, I know. It's the first rule of Fight Club. Don't talk about the movies before Ian's here.
Exactly.
But
it's okay. I was talking to myself a lot about it.
So. But I think that feeling was kind of on purpose. I know that sounds a little strange, right? Like a sad movie
Yeah.
that doesn't want you to be sad, but it seemed
It wants you to be sad. At some
yeah, I
point.
want you to be sad at some point. But I think it took a very like detached approach to me, and especially with the film opening on him being like, "This is the day that I fucking died." We know he's gonna die from the beginning of the story. We know he and his sister they're fucking goners. Like as soon as he flashes back, it's just like, oh man, like this is it. And you almost want to distance yourself from this, right? It's fresh on your mind. You're like, these people are gonna fucking die, right? And as the film goes on, you start to find yourself, I don't know, at least I found myself starting to root for them, like a normal story or in a film that you would. It's like maybe if he just, steals that sugar cane, or like maybe, they'll find maybe these kids that's come along is kind of like going to help them. Somebody will finally sell them some rice or something. It's like each new event, you're like, this is going to be the one, like, where they figure it out, like, but then in the back of your mind, you're like, no, but they're dead. Like, they're dead the whole time. And so going back to what you had said, Jared, about like apathy, is I don't think it makes you apathetic. I think you start kind of apathetic. You start kind of from a distance. And I mean, literally, like you're watching the movie, you're watching the characters from a distance. I mean, Seda, like after he dies, like he goes and watches all the events leading up to his death from a literal distance. And so that's kind of how I felt that the movie was trying to detach you from the very beginning, and to be like, hey, don't you start feeling things, like even when like there's no reason to hope for these kids, there's no reason to like root or cheer for them or believe that they're going to survive, you still find yourself kind of doing it a little bit. And I think that was the saddest part to me, is like not the death particularly or anything like that, but the fact that like you couldn't help but believe that these kids were going to make it for just a second, even though you knew better.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I got from that one. I don't know if that makes any sense or.
That makes some sense. Because one of the themes, one of the reasons that they're dying is because of other people's sort of distancing themselves and disregarding, just sort of like pushing the suffering people away. Yeah.
And I can see that.
I could see that. But I don't necessarily think that, because there are points there are lots of parts that are very intentionally trying to make you intimate with these characters and trying to tug at your heartstrings.
Yeah, for sure. But I think and I think it's really, you kind of hit it there for a second when you said like it's because of like these other people pushing them away or refusing to help. Yeah. I looking back, it's, you see all these decisions here, like if this one person would have just helped. Yeah, or if they would have never left, or if the aunt would have just not been a raging biatch. Horrible woman. But it's just like maybe these kids, but you can't really blame any of these people. Like, yeah, you can kind of be like, oh, they could have helped, but they're all in the same situation. The guy's like, I can't sell you shit because I barely have anything to sell. Like even the aunt, like as horrible as she was, like she had to look out for her own family first. I mean, I know they were family, and she had kind of some backwards ideals as far as like why Seda like was undeserving of care, because he wouldn't go work even though he was trying to take care of his little sister. Which I found that to be a little interesting. But from the opening shot of the film, I think is the most telling on something like that, if you guys remember. But so he opens like with the day that he dies, right? He's like, this is the day that I died. And you see him like pass out in the train station, I think. And like, utter his last words, which is Setsuko, which is his sister. And then, it's kind of like a medium shot. It's like a medium shot of him like slumped over on the wall. And I think like a policeman or a guard or just somebody working down there like trips around him or like sees him. It's just like, oh man, like this one's dead. And it cuts to a wide shot. And there's like 4 other children dressed just like him, slumped over too, and they check another one. They're like, oh, he's a fucking goner too. And so it's, like we spent some time getting to know Seda and Setsuo later on in the film and start to root for them and start to care about them and like, why are they, being pushed away by all these other, but we could have dropped into anyone's story. Like it could have happened to anyone. They weren't special.
That's a good point. I didn't
So
think about that.
even the fact that like nobody would help them, like we're like, God, please just help these kids because we've been spending time with them.
Mhm.
But the opening shot had told us they're not special.
Yeah.
This is happening to everyone in post-war Japan. This is fucking. We could. It almost feels like you could pick any one of those side characters that like refuse to help and follow them and find just as sad and just as much struggle in their life. So even though like you can kind of be like, why are you not helping our friends Seda and Setsuko that we've been following this whole time, that we know we're going to die, but we really, really want you to help them. And I think Takahata is being like, even if they would, like, I think you see
Drop of
the police officer when he gets caught stealing the sugar cane.
No, it was the fruit drop box canister.
Huh?
You talking about the beginning?
No.
When he gets beat up.
When he's beat up by the farmer. So he goes to steal some sugar cane for because Setsuko's like actually dying of malnutrition. And the farmer catches him and follows him back to his place and like beats the shit out of him, takes him to the police. And the policeman looks at him and you can see he like feels sympathy and like pity for him, and he's just like, hey, like, I think this kid's been through enough. And the farmer's like, hey, what the fuck? Like, he was trying to steal my shit. He was like, I could upgrade this to assault. Like, ACAB. They're even planting evidence of making up crimes in post-war Japan in 1940. Well, I guess barely post-war, like late war Japan, 1945. There was a little bit of post-war in there, but and so it's just like, oh God, finally, there's an authority figure. There's somebody who's going to take pity on these characters and help them out, right? He just graciously told the man to walk, and then he was like, hey, can I get you a glass of water? And like that's all he can offer him is a glass of fucking water.
Yeah.
Not even the people who are taking sympathy can actually help our main characters in any way that matters.
Yeah.
So to me, I was kind of like, it was kind of like, look, nobody escapes the clutches of war. Like, you're not special. This is just devastating for everybody in a way. But I don't know. That could be a little bit of a defeatist attitude.
No, what I agree. I agree. I wrote on my notes here.
Yeah.
I was trying to put into words the thoughts I was having, and it ended with the sentence, in war or post-war, human lives are no more than fireflies to a child, is what I put. And poetic. I think going with what you said is sort of, this could be anybody, everybody's suffering. We just happen to fall in onto this one specific story. And I think all the instances of fireflies appearing throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's meant to further that point. It's like, hey, all fireflies are the same, and we're just we look at them as sort of entertainment. Hey, they're kind of cool. We just kind of grab them. Or like the scene where Setsuko, she tries to grab it from Seida's hands. Sorry, I forgot. She tries to grab the firefly from Seida's hands and just crushes it immediately. And he's like, haha, you can't. Come on. You got to be more gentle. And so furthering that point is sort of like the people being involved in the war and the people who are doing the war. Human lives are no more than, just something on a map, something that, hey, we're trying to win this war. We're trying to gain something for us and make them lose something, similar to, hey, we're trying to get entertainment from a firefly.
That's interesting. I didn't look at it that way, but I definitely see that. Like, now that you're saying that, I just kind of taken like the fireflies, like, and this is not in contrast to your point. I think they can both work at the same time. I'd taken the fireflies as like how short-lived they are.
That's also true.
In a way. I can agree with that. Just like, I mean, you can even, Setsuko was even crying after she made the little grave for him. She mirrored exactly like. And that is one thing I know Taka, he would throw in little splices of flashbacks within the flashback to show parallels and imagery. And that happens in Mirai as well. And we'll get to that. But I don't know how to feel about those.
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I kind of wish that, like, I don't know, it would just kind of leave it alone, like, and allow you to make those parallel connections yourself. Like, sometimes I feel like, oh, I didn't need you to flash back to that, like, to let me know. But then at the same
Spell it
time,
out.
I'm kind of like, maybe I did, because the only reason I think I would have figured it out is because it was already put in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But either way, she's just like crying. She's like, why do they have to die so soon? Which the film made it seem like Fireflies die in like 2 days or some shit.
Or like, yeah. I thought it was like the morning after they put them in there, they were dead.
Dude, Fireflies live for like, I mean, I guess maybe their little net was like way too insulated or something.
Mm-hmm.
But Fireflies live like 3 to 4 weeks. I'm pretty sure.
Do they?
Yeah.
Maybe
I have no idea.
Maybe they had like lupus or something. You know,
Probably.
Grave of the lupused Fireflies.
the lupus flies. Yeah. So I would like to bring up something you pointed out while we were watching, and I didn't even notice, was near the end after Setsuko had already died and Seita's just kind of doing his own thing, whatever. There's a scene where across from the shelter that they were staying at, there's like a lake house on the side of a mountain, and this family comes back after the war, and they're like, oh wow, look, it's nothing got damaged. Wow, that's great. And then they're just getting lit. They're just having a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
They were not affected by it at all. And Houston, I believe you said, fucking 1% or something like that.
No, I had said that was because there were rich people coming back to their fucking house after the war had ended. It's like that was like Ted Cruz and his family coming back from Cancun after the storms in Texas.
Yeah,
but yeah, like we laugh, but
yeah,
God,
I actually had written down. This is sort of not contrary, but sort of related to what you guys were talking about before. And one of my pieces of evidence for why I thought this was related to that scene that you were talking about, which was that that the movie wasn't as much about war, and that war was simply the setting, and it was more about, I guess, poverty and charity. Yeah. Just because I guess war is a good place to set something where there's suffering everywhere. Yeah. But I noticed they didn't interact with the war that much. Like the victims or the war itself is distant. The fighting is distant. They don't, and so are the combatants even when they come to Japan. Yeah. But the majority of what we see is the interactions between characters who are suffering, and how it's sort of like you can be 200 feet away from somebody who has more stuff than they will ever need, and you are dying of malnutrition, and they still feel like they can't really help you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or you can be running through a whole village, like houses, and like they've got blankets and iron cookware and stuff like that, but they still feel like they can't help you. And I don't know. It's sort of that was what they kept running into. Their problems were all, I guess,
they were literally not present during Seida's and Setsuko's suffering. Like literally, the people who had the means to help them were very, very literally not physically there. Yes, yeah. And I don't think that was like oh darn, we just missed them. It was more of both a thematic reflection of just like they're just not going to be there for you, but at the same time being like, of course, rich people can like fly away to wherever the fuck they want to avoid. Yeah. And because you were saying like the war is distant, and you are right, because they do bomb from above, and you can even make the little parallel that like little rising sparks of ash look like fireflies. But
you have that one in the back pocket.
As far as yeah. Oh, did I write it down? Yeah.
That was a good one.
As far as scale goes, I mean, if you're flying from 30,000 feet, is that where a plane 30,000? But I don't know. Shit, I don't even know why I just picked a number. but yeah, from let's say 30,000 feet up. God, that sounds like a lot, but
no, I don't think so.
I just don't have a visual scale for it at all. But anyway, just from really
plane height.
From plane height up, everything below you is going to look like a little speck, a little bug. Honestly,
yeah.
But even that, like they were a literal.
It's on fire.
Yeah,
it looks like a firefly.
Reading Rainbow. That's what taught me to do analysis. But no, even going back to those that rich family, they were like. To go back to the word literal, but a literal stone's throw away. or stone skip, I
Yeah.
guess, across the lake. But
They had a good 100 feet of elevation above them too. I think they could have got him.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
I think if they weren't malnourished, they could probably have got him. But I think
Yeah.
the
I'm talking
weakness.
about the people up there could have just.
Oh yeah, well, I would assume that it would be the poor throwing stones at the rich than the rich throwing stones from their $1 million balcony.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think there were a lot of elements of that, and even though if it wasn't like the central conceit or like the main focus about like how distant everyone was from them, like I think it kind of wanted you to put yourself in the suffering, but like you remain just as distant as these rich people. And I think one of the coolest scenes, or at least one of my favorites, was a little towards, and I thought it was really funny. I'm kind of derail for a second. But I thought it was strange. Because what I remember is like it takes like 45 minutes for them to get on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And you would like think that like that's
Yeah.
the meat of the film. Like everything else is leading up to like that inciting action, I guess, in a character story to where sorry, I've had too much beer. It's like that inciting incident to get them to go, and then that's when they start to live on their own, and there's conflict and sacrifice and resolution and whatever. But it's halfway into the movie. Like it's a large chunk of setup, which I thought was kind of interesting.
But I
don't know
think
what to
all
feel
that
about
setup,
it,
all that setup has the same trajectory downwards. That the first half
Yeah.
or whatever has the same trajectory as the second half.
yeah.
I don't think that that's necessarily set up. I think that is a part of it.
Oh no, I guess I do agree. I didn't want to just label it all as just setup, but I just thought it was kind of interesting because it feels very distant, like that. I keep using that word. I probably shouldn't. It feels very disconnected, at least. Like feels like everything happens, and then they live in the shelter. Like, and that feels like the meat of the movie, in a way. I mean, I think that's what most people remember, right? If you've already seen it, you remember them living on their own, or that's what you would assume the film was about.
I think I remember the
I don't know.
the ant. I think I remember the time with the ant more.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely remember because I had seen it before, but I definitely remembered all that stuff happening. I guess I assumed with how much I consume media that was going to be a much shorter block,
Mm-hmm.
and the much longer
Yeah.
and drawn out block was going to be like their suffering and their time on their
Mhm.
own. But it really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was interesting, and I haven't really worked out in my head what I feel about it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But even I think my favorite scene is I guess it's towards the end, even though it has nothing to do with like the ending of the film. But just runtime wise, it's towards the end. It's when they're sleeping and that group of kids shows up and just kind of like looks around at their shit and is like, "Oh God, who would eat this? Like, this is disgusting. Like somebody's living here. Like that's fucking nasty." And the expectation, and I don't know, and I'll ask you because I'd already asked Jared about it, but I'll ask you, Ian. Did you? I guess for me, and I want to say if you had felt the same way, but I was kind of worried, like, oh God, what are they gonna come and fuck up? Like, what are they gonna steal?
Yeah.
What are they gonna break? What are they gonna
Yeah.
do? And then the other side of me is like, well, maybe let's just jump into a conclusion there. Maybe they can help them. Like, if they're kids, they look like they're in healthy shape. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna offer them some food? Are they gonna provide a way out? All the while knowing that these kids are gonna die. So.
Yeah.
And that feeds back into my initial reaction to it of being like it didn't even matter, like it doesn't matter who it was, and so I think that was a really cool scene to watch. Literally, somebody got to vocalize, not the exact way like we as an audience were feeling, but kind of all we can do, even when they're right in the thick of it, all they can do is observe.
Yeah.
And so I think that was. I think that feeds into like the central themes as to what I saw, and also like even looking at the rich, you know what I mean? No one's gonna help. It doesn't matter who they are. They're just gonna observe, and so it's the distance that we had felt through the eyes of Sada's soul ascending to whatever heaven or whatever afterlife Firefly grave that he reunited with Setsuko in, and which I thought was kind of interesting that they showed them reuniting in the first 5 minutes in whatever afterlife it was, kind of the red glow.
Yeah.
he came to Setsuga, and we saw it again later, but it's like it was almost like Takahata, the director, being like, "Hey, it's fine. Like they're coming back together. Like they're just dead." He's like, "Just don't get too sad. Don't turn my movie off." Like they're like, "Here's a happy ending at the very beginning, and then now watch them suffer."
I guess I don't remember that part as well. I remember it happening. I never thought of it as an afterlife. I must have not picked up
it
on
ended.
That.
The film ended, I guess, because you saw him observing himself, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess I say afterlife because I don't really know what to say, but like, I guess I saw it as like more like souls and spirits. Is that what would you characterize it as? Like
Limbo.
Yeah.
Damn, they weren't good enough to make it to heaven.
Well, no, not limbo
I
in
guess
that
they
context,
did.
but limbo is in just the space between here and the afterlife. He needed to tell his story
thought it was
first.
That's fair.
I kind of thought it was like memories, maybe. Or when I was seeing it, I was thinking like, oh, that's him in the future, looking like he's in the same place but a different time, and it's like him.
Yeah, but he was dead, so.
That's true.
Yeah,
but I didn't think of it in the context.
Yeah, I think that's why there was like that
day.
color contrast of like the red and like the glow of the fireflies, even though it's not red, but was kind of to signify like this is a space beyond this reality, at least, or beyond this like life or plane.
Ghosts
but I think
are canon.
Ghosts are canon. That is what one of the little kids says when they go into. He's like, "It's a ghost."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he runs away.
It was just a sleeping person, but
wouldn't that be fucking wild? Just thinking about that, like somebody just like in the last scene when they're looking at Tokyo now, or I guess not
Kobe.
now, but in the 80s. Kobe. They're looking at Kobe, and like somebody just kind of like walks by and is like, "What the fuck? Ew, what is that?"
Yo, what are you guys doing? This is private property. That's
food?
what I was gonna mention because I was talking about how it ended. Like it ended with them looking at like modern day Kobe or modern day Japan, I guess, and the lights, the city, the sprawling urban development. It's like I don't know if all those little lights, those windows were fireflies, or it was just kind of like watching them like be like we never got to witness the progression of this society. Like
Play
we
it back.
didn't make it out. Play it back. All right, we're
back.
taking a pause to go rewatch Grave of the Fireflies. We'll be back, you guys. It wasn't like they were just sitting there over the city, but I was kind of more like, I don't know what I get thematically out of it is more what I was saying. So playing it back wouldn't.
I don't even remember that.
The final shot of them looking at the city?
Well, like how fireflies die very shortly in this context of hunger, be it war, whatever. You're preventing the children from seeing the world grow, seeing the development of the nation.
I'll accept that. I mean, that's I hadn't thought it through. I just written it down, I guess, as the last thing that I had noticed. Also, can we talk about that blatant product placement that you pointed out in the aunt's house?
What was it?
When she's got no, not the aunt's house. Was it the aunt's house when he goes in there and she's got all that food? And she was like, "OMG, can you believe this is butter?"
Oh, yeah.
She's like, "I do believe this is butter."
Oh, yeah. That was funny. That might have just been the translation. I don't know. But that was
the translation. No, it's a Ghibli film. So it's Disney. And Disney is mad about their. Yeah, it's produced by Studio Ghibli.
No, it's not. I'm not sure what.
Oh, I thought you were like confused. That I said it was a Ghibli film. Oh, okay.
What does that have to do with the translation?
Because Disney does the dubs and shit, right? I mean, we did watch the sub, but shit. I don't know. I was just trying to.
Also, I don't know if Disney did Grave of the Fireflies.
Yes, that was 1988. They probably did not. I just wanted to dog on Disney for a minute because
Does Disney do all Ghibli? I thought they only did, or mostly Miyazaki.
Dubs. I thought it was just they partnered with Ghibli. I don't think they partnered with Miyazaki. They partnered with Ghibli. Miyazaki founded Ghibli, so like it would make sense.
Well, I know, but I feel like what the fuck, dude.
Sorry.
Bless you, Ian.
No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, sorry. There was one scene that I really, really liked.
What was that?
And it was whilst Seita was stealing and whatnot, and he's a very patriotic kid, like any good boy in
1940s Japan.
Yes. Good old military son, emperor loving boy. But there was one scene after we've experienced a lot of this, and he's hungry and he's doing everything that he possibly can to feed his sister. He's been rejected by everybody. There's a scene after he steals some stuff. So like anytime there's a raid, that's when he goes in because everybody's running for their houses, and he steals. And I'm pretty sure it was an American bomber that went by.
Oh,
and
yeah, for sure.
And he just goes like, yeah, and he cheers it on because it's allowing him to go steal the stuff.
Yes,
But I loved watching that. Basically people who are dissociated from the actual tragedies of the war are the ones who are like, yeah, keep going, fuck the other countries. Yeah. But Sate is over here and has had his whole worldview. I mean, later on he still did patriotic stuff, but whatever.
Yeah.
For that one shot, he had his patriotism flipped because he is the one facing the consequences of Japan fighting fighting the U.S. I really like that scene. That was it.
When is it? I don't remember him ever being particularly patriotic.
What do you mean? That whole
in a way, like he's pretty bummed when Japan loses the war, but I think that's more about his dad being dead.
That's true. Yeah,
I
forgot
mean,
about that.
you know,
no,
like,
I mean the whole
he's not particularly unpatriotic, I would say. So like, you can kind of assume that he's patriotic.
No. I'd say he's particularly patriotic. There's that whole scene. There's the whole scene when they're in the shelter with the Fireflies, and it's like that light show, and he's like singing the Japanese national
I thought that was a
anthem.
lot more facetious to me. That came off, and I could be wrong because
I don't think it came off facetious at all. I think it was very because I don't know. I feel like he mad respects his dad for being in the military, and that's why he was so upset when they lost the war. And
I don't know. I had taken
so.
that scene as very kind of like
cheering up his sister, just being.
No,
his sister was asleep though.
Yeah, she was asleep.
Well, he didn't realize he was asleep until he was done.
Yeah, that is fair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. To me, it came off as kind of a bitter tone, but that was just me. Like I could run it back. We got to run it back.
Run it back.
And actually, I do want to say, like, I thought that was really interesting that you brought up like the people who are kind of desensitized, like to the war, who are like benefiting from it, who are like, yeah, fuck yeah, war. And you're right. That was definitely an American plane.
Okay.
We were the only ones, I think, actively attacking Japan. I know the Soviets declared war on Japan after we dropped the first atomic bomb.
Well, so I'm sorry. I'm making sure that wasn't a Japan plane because it was right after the raid had stopped.
No,
it
was definitely dropped. Well, even if it was, to him, like he was just fucking cheering for the bomb.
We don't want another instance of predications being wrong. That's what we're trying to avoid.
That is true. That is true. Going back and editing some other stuff, we definitely got mad shit wrong before. But I do want to say, like, and I wrote this down if I can find it. Let's see. I said, like, the ants' ideology represents a belief system that also tends to support war, which, you know, isn't, like, 100% textual. Yeah. But I just thought it kind of funny that everyone's suffering from this war, right? Like, she's starving and he's starving and they're all having to run to the shelters. But she's just like, you need to buck up and pick yourself up by your bootstraps, go fight like a man. And I know, obviously, she did not want her home country to be attacked, you know, like, and I can get that, but her kind of, you're a man, you should be out here fighting for your country and pulling your weight and doing your thing is a very, I don't want to put labels on it, but sorry, traditionally understood as a more Republican, right-leaning kind of ideology, the pick yourself up by your bootstraps and
conservative.
Conservative. And I'm trying not to, because I know there are nuances to the whole political spectrum. Yeah. But
that's a very of its time sort of attitude.
It is a very of its time attitude, but
Japan was very.
I just thought it was kind of neat to like relate it to being like this kind of ideology of like you need to go out there and you need to fight for Japan or America or whatever country ever, like that ideology, even though she's suffering from the horrors of war, it's usually a very in support of imperialism and war and nationalism and dominance and things. Especially
very proletariat.
That's not proletariat.
Yeah, good vocabulary word there, Jared.
Yeah.
The proletariat should not be pro-war, in my opinion. At least.
No, I'm not talking about what they should be. I'm just saying.
I think the way the proletariat is defined is just the working class. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with like imperialism or nationalism. Like, I think like in reference to like what the proletariat represents.
I don't know if
People.
I can't think of many working class people that aren't what you just described.
Yes.
Just edit in like the Wikipedia page. Like, right during
No. I do understand that there are a lot of
Someone will look.
blue collar America is very like pro war, but I think like I don't know,
Mhm.
when I hear proletariat, I don't think about like like democratic or like I don't want to say democratic. I don't think of like libertarian ideology. I think of like Marxism, to where in his eyes the proletariat was like the working class people who were being oppressed. Like he
Mhm.
wasn't putting I necessarily, and I don't want to go too far into this because like
I think that can apply. I think that
It's
can.
not about the movies.
yeah, I want to stick to I know more about movies than I do about communist theory, but just yes, I think it can apply. I guess our proletariat or our working class tends to be pretty blue collar, and I think that is interesting. Like the
Oh
nationalism.
yeah. Sorry,
So
I mean
honestly, yes. I'm talking about like America, I guess, in general.
yeah. Our government's not oppressive.
Dude, not at all, for
no.
sure.
No. No.
If you're hearing this, government, totally love you guys. Love the work that you're doing with the kids in cages. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I fuck with that name.
Detention centers. What's the new name?
I don't remember.
What's the rebrand? I can't believe they rebranded.
Yeah.
Maybe
it'll get 'em more
camps.
It'll give them more deals. More sponsors.
The Nike Air Boost internment camps. But anyway, like I just that ideology, at least that kind of more like nationalist ideology is like kind of, I don't want to say creates, because it is truly like more so the government and businesses and the 1% that creates these problems, but the devil in the details, I guess, is getting the average person, the average working class or proletariat member, I guess, buy into that ideology and buy into the nationalism and be pro-war, even though it's the reason that they're suffering. Like this 1%ers, they get to go on vacation and come back to an unscathed house.
It's so...
But the people who are like, pick yourself up by your fucking bootstraps and go out there and fight for your country are the ones whose houses are burned down and are eating rice balls and nothing else and have to kick out children so they can survive. Like, and so I just think it's kind of interesting to see like little hints of that, even if it wasn't like necessarily like put in there to be like, ha. It was just kind of nice to like, I say nice, I mean, I wish it didn't exist, but to see that kind of, I don't know, like I've definitely been very conscious of bootlickers in the past year, so I just want to date this one. It's 2021, so you know what I'm referring to as far as like seeing people get on their knees and grovel towards authority after they claim like to be anti-authoritarian. A lot of bootlickers out there, but I just thought it was kind of interesting to see.
I just saw that.
It's very 1984.
Me and Joe were talking earlier about just how annoyed I get when people are like, "Oh my god, this is Orwellian," or "This is just like 1984," and like 9 times out of 10 when somebody says that, it's like, "Oh, so you've never read 1984?"
I mean, no joke. It's not a huge plot point in 1984, but it is sort of in there.
Yes, just very vague themes you can.
Yes.
But yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. As far
that
as
is pretty.
Does anyone else have any final thoughts about Grave of the Fireflies? Because we should talk about Mirai for a little bit, and we'll definitely come back and get to talk about both of them and compare them. Which is probably why we should have stuck more to plot than theme this whole time. But it's whatever. Does anyone have anything else? Like I wrote down a lot of stuff, but most of it was just like how Setsuko had some mad drip with that hoodie.
I wrote the Anne as a bitch twice.
So important it had to be said twice.
Yeah. I liked. I guess.
Stream of consciousness notes.
Yeah. My final note is it's a great shot of Setsuko wearing the hat and giving a salute.
Oh, the bowl. Yeah.
They should have made that the like the film like cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I do know what you mean.
Yeah. Orwellian almost.
Oh my god.
Almost.
Yeah, I say my 2 big thoughts that I would probably want to leave with. I guess like the biggest thing, I already mentioned how the kids are really just this perspective of the audience. Those kids that like stumble upon their little camp. But the 2 biggest things is like I like to see, and feeding back into my point, was when they were on the beach the day earlier before they lived by themselves, and Setsuko like stumbles upon a dead body, and Seda he's like, hey, don't look at that, and they turn around and they go about their business. And then like that attitude that they have towards that dead body, which there's not much else of an attitude you can have, it's almost too far gone.
Yeah.
That attitude is the same attitude that was displayed towards them during their struggles. I thought that was kind of interesting to be like, well, there's nothing you could do with it for that dead body, and to look at the other way, and we want all these people to help them, but it's like, God, there's really nothing that anyone can do for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the only people who can are, on vacation in Cancun. So that was a big thing that I had written. And then their first shelter. So the first thing that they buy before they even decide to go live on their own, they buy, our own rice cooker to not have to eat with their shitty aunt. And they buy an umbrella to walk home in the rain. And I thought it was interesting that the umbrella that they had bought had mad holes in it. And I was almost like, it's so dysfunctional that their shelter from the storm was doomed to fail from the beginning. I don't know if that was intentional. It might have just been an aesthetic choice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody loves a ripped umbrella. It's pretty chic, but
it was cool.
I thought it was interesting that the very first time they tried to shelter themselves from something, just the rain, but their shelter already had holes in it. And then the first time Seda ever cried for his mother, the first time he ever properly grieved, because I think the whole time he was just trying to worry about Setsuko the whole time. And the first time was when she had kind of admitted that she was like, yeah, mom's in a grave, and I knew that, and like now I'm putting these fireflies in this grave because they've passed as well. Kind of like he had no idea that she had known that their mom was dead, and he'd been trying to protect her the whole time, and she's just like, why do fireflies have to die so soon? And that's the first time we had seen, obviously not the last time we saw him cry, goddamn, but first time we saw Seda cry, and it wasn't necessarily just based on a situation like it was later in the movie. It was more like the first time we had seen him actually get to grieve for his mother, because from the very moment he knew she was gone, like I have to protect Setsuko in any way, shape, or form that I can. So those are probably my last thoughts that I want to just like toss out there so I can refer back to them. But do you guys have?
Okay.
Do you have anything, Ian? I do have something, but I want you go.
No, I think I'm done with
Okay.
Grave of the Fireflies.
What about
Okay. We can end it off with just going around saying what the saddest scene was to you. So I'll go first.
Yeah, for sure.
Personally, the scene after Seda returns, I can't remember what he was doing. I think he was buying something. I don't know. But when he comes back and Setsuko is she's the scene where he says she never wakes up.
Yeah.
Oh man, her picking up those stones and being like, "Here, I made some rice balls for you," and he's just like, he's shocked and he's in pure disbelief. And she's like, "What's the matter? Do you not want them?" I did in fact shed at least 3 tears for that scene. It hit me.
I can confirm he definitely shed.
Yes, that scene was
300 tears.
Do we get a count on those?
Yeah,
I have a whole
did
jar.
not.
It's a smart water bottle full of tears. Yeah, no, that is a pretty solid choice. What about you, Ian?
I think mine's probably the same one. That's what I was thinking to say before.
On an original hack.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
She's eating the marbles.
Yeah.
I would say
they're weird marbles. They're not shaped like, they're not round.
They weren't
though.
like
I don't
they weren't like
understand how they're marbles.
Marbles for playing marbles. They were more like pebbles or stones than anything. Like glass pebbles. You've seen them like in a fish tank or something like that.
Yeah. I've never. Yeah, no one. I don't know anyone who calls those marbles though.
Well, that's because we take it for granted.
Also, you have to realize that the film was
we
not.
Take it for granted. Granted.
All right, guys. That's it for it. Boo.
Yeah.
No, you also have to think it was
right
it was a translation. Like the movie was written in a different language, so the translation probably just worked.
Yeah, but
as
Disney
marbles.
did it, so.
It's not Google Translate.
I'm gonna let that one go. All right, fuck off. No, I'd say my saddest scene was just that fucking montage. I know this is kind of like hacky, but the montage of her after she dies, and he just sits there and like remembers, and you just sit there and watch like her playing around while he's out gone looking for food and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was tough too.
Because you were crying at the rocks, and I was like, damn, that's sad. But like,
I think I also shed a tear for that one. I think
you shed a tear like 18 different times in this movie. But
I'm an emotional guy. I'm proud of it.
I know it makes you less of a man, but you don't have to brag about it.
Did you shed a tear for Mirai?
No, I fucking hated that
We'll
kid,
get to
dude.
that.
No, I'm just kidding.
Actually,
it's all.
We're to that now.
We're in jest.
We are
Yes.
to that now, but I want to say like let's probably take a break right here for two reasons. One,
Okay.
we've been going for about 1 hour.
Yep.
That's what I was gonna say.
Close to that,
Yep,
and I think we can take a little break in here. Play some I Am Hair or something.
Have you showed him that?
No, he does not
intermission?
know because I have it.
Oh, it's really
exported.
Ian. It's great. It's great. You'll love it.
Okay.
I Am Hair is a part of our intro and outro. So you
Really?
you haven't heard it yet, but everyone who's
Okay. No, I
who's
haven't.
listened to this podcast will have already heard at least the intro.
We'll have already heard
Yes,
this?
we'll already heard the
Okay.
intro. I Am Hair. Hopefully we don't get copyright claimed because you did sample some stuff in that one.
We'll see.
Ian, our resident.
My lit media.
See if it does me justice.
Yeah, but also the second reason is I'm.
We are known to litigate.
No, the second reason we should break is I'm almost finished with mine like third or fourth
Oh.
beer of the day, and I got a one Waz, but two fucking get another one.
You should have.
That's a good point.
So
good point.
I guess we should pause everything for now, and we'll be back in a couple minutes. I say
Okay.
because we're in different areas, so
Mm-hmm.
this isn't a watch;
All
it's a
right.
hair tie. Reconvene in like 3 to 5 minutes. All right, we'll see you in a sec.
Welcome back to the Spaghetti and Meat Boys podcast, the only podcast that uses cherry-flavored lip balm. I'm your host, Chapping Sticks. Here to my right is the guest, Burt's Bees.
Ooh.
Oof.
I'm losing it.
Can you think of a third?
A third chapstick.
And our other guest, a car full of mechs.
Carmex.
So
I don't know
we're
what that means.
Carmex.
Carmex.
Oh, he
Oh.
doesn't use lip balm. Look at him.
I just use Vaseline.
It does work.
Just
Yeah,
works,
but that's
yeah.
why his lips are always all crusty whenever I make out with him.
Yeah.
Mine are crusty right now. Actually, I could actually use some lip.
Mine
Hey, I
too.
got some in my pocket. Anyways, so
Good
the
one.
second movie we're talking about is Mirai.
Mirai. I thought it was kind of interesting just to quickly go not as far as like the movie, but that's not the name of the movie in Japanese. Like the name is, I think I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation. So any weebs watching this, I apologize.
Go
But it's
for
like
it.
Mirai no Mirai, which is Mirai of the future, because Mirai means future. But I guess
Doesn't
I
really
can't. Well,
translate
yeah,
that
I
well.
can't. Well, you could have said Mirai of the future. I don't know why they didn't just title it that.
Well, because the whole point is that they're the same word. I mean, like, if you wanted to really translate it, it would be future of the future.
Yeah, but
and her name is Future.
Well,
her
okay,
name
but
means
I'm-
future, but
I'm
I
pretty
think the
sure-
I know.
character in Japanese for a name and for another type of noun would be different,
Oh.
right?
Well, it's
I don't
no
know.
well, yeah, it's no different. Like if there was an English
I don't
title,
know.
like a rose for Rose, we wouldn't be like, wait a minute, a rose
Exactly.
is getting a rose. No, it's a female getting. It's a person named Rose
Yeah, but-
getting a rose.
I
Yeah.
just don't know why they
Yeah.
chopped off.
But you want to keep that
well, yeah, I understand. You want to keep
You
that
want repetition.
yeah, but I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird for them to like chop off the of the future, even though like I
Yeah,
understand.
there's
you
no
would be-
repetition in the new one because in the English title because there's only one word.
Yeah, it's just Mirai, which
I think it works better that
You
way.
do? You
I
do?
think they made a good call there.
ooh, so this man is he's a white colonialist. He thinks America's better. Ooh. You think you could make better anime? No, but Mirai, we should probably start. I'll go with the plot synopsis.
Yeah.
So
Whoa.
yeah,
Go ahead.
All right. I'm ready.
you're gonna lose your microphone privileges if you keep doing shit like that.
You don't want this mic. You don't want this. Mic.
I'm just gonna unplug it.
How did you?
But Mirai, I guess Mirai. It's about even though the I guess the titular Mirai is not the main character. We follow a 4-year-old boy named Kun as his parents return from the hospital after his mother birthed his baby sister, Mirai. And it's about him learning, I guess, how to interact or grow up and share the love and that Mirai is like taking a lot of the attention and stuff like that. And he ends up, to learn these lessons, he ends up stumbling upon a magic tree portal that's been at his house forever, apparently, where he meets members of his family from both the past and the future, including Mirai herself from the future, Mirai of the future. I'm going to help him better empathize and understand some of the inner workings of his family and his role in the family, and yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a lot of empathy going on in there. Did I miss anything? Any major plot points, or was that everything?
Plot points.
Lots of trains.
Lots of what?
Lots of
Yeah.
trains.
Trains were cool.
Yeah, the
Dude.
training arc was pretty good.
Training.
That kid was
Wow, on point today.
He was a 4-year-old after my own heart, because I was fucking obsessed with trains as a kid. So I identified mad. Also, I have a little sister. It's like neither you. Well, Ian, you have a sibling, right? You have a little brother.
Yes,
Brother is the word.
A little something. It's a little something.
A little something.
Yeah.
A little something. You don't though.
I do not. I have an older brother.
Yeah. So I just want to let you know you were annoying as fuck.
That's fine. That's fine. I can.
Mess around.
I'm not going to argue with that. So beginning points before delving into things we liked about the plot, structure, themes, whatnot.
Yeah.
I have 2 things to say regarding Mirai. One,
Okay.
I don't know why this is present in any animation. Well, I'm gonna say anime because I guess I can't think of that many cartoons or other forms. I don't know why this happens in every anime. Why they cannot use the sound of an actual dog barking.
Yeah,
but
I noticed
my
that.
God,
There's a guy.
One of my few complaints about this movie was Yuko's bark was garbage. It was terrible.
It's a little bit more defensible that since they have a human version that actually talks.
Yes,
that he would do the voice.
and that's fair. But like, my God, he doesn't bark that much. Like, can you just take a soundbite of a dog barking? Anyways,
It was weird.
They would
That's one of my few.
animal trainer. You know, what breed of dog would they use? God, so much work. Just have a grown man in a studio being like. It was awful.
On the same note for odd. On the same note for odd audio, there was like a establishing shot of like the city, and
Which
there was
one?
music in the background.
The opening shot.
There were a
It
lot
was
of
in the
them.
first like 10. It was I know. Well, it does. The
They
shot
repeated
doesn't
the
matter.
same
It's the music
aerial
that
shot.
matters.
Like it wasn't the exact same shot because they were in different times, but an aerial shot coming down on their house like 3 times, I think, in the film.
No, it was just like it was okay. Maybe an
It starts at the
establishing- maybe
city
it's
and then it
B-roll
pans down
or
to their
something.
house, right?
The landscapes, man.
I don't remember. The shot doesn't matter. Is the point? It's the music that.
What was the
matters.
music?
But I noticed that mixed into like the music very subtly is like the doorbell sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like dun 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 dun.
Probably a
dun,
clock
dun.
tower.
It was like just in the music, and I thought that was
There's
very
probably a
odd.
clock tower going off if it was a shot of a city.
I mean, this dude has.
No, it was like in the music.
I
It
mean,
wasn't like it was non-diegetic, I guess you would say.
Interesting.
I mean,
I
it
didn't
very well
notice
could have
that.
just.
Odd.
It could have been the doorbell of their house. Maybe somebody was
it was.
ding
It was
dong
like-
ditching.
It was like played on like a keyboard or something. Like,
So?
it didn't sound like a doorbell. It was just the pattern of notes.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Ian. And I just want to let you know that no one else noticed it, and you're probably going crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though, the
Maybe I
guy,
am.
the house is modern as fuck. I think it's reasonable to guess that maybe he had a pretty banging doorbell sound.
But it wasn't like it wasn't.
We
that
did hear
connected to
their
any
we did
scene
hear
of
their
somebody
doorbell
arriving
sound,
at the
though.
door.
It
Yeah,
wasn't-
sure we
it wasn't
did.
like
Did
that.
we?
Yeah. Anyways, second
way.
Oh yeah, your second
Second
point.
point.
your
second point that I loved is the brilliant use of 3D in the movie.
Yeah, a little bit of depth.
It was used sparingly and
Yes,
well.
it was done
did
very
like that.
well. Yes.
It wasn't like a full 3D animation. It just really added like some
But yeah,
good,
there were like
good
certain
depth.
there there were certain scenes of like Yuko running, the dog running, that the dog was 3D compared to everyone else, and it just looked really good. It was really smooth. And
I don't know exactly.
It's one of those things you can fuck up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ever seen Earwig and the Witch?
Ever seen the Berserk movies? Oh my god.
Dude, none of us are weebs, dude.
Oh, sorry.
Outta here.
Yeah.
Come on.
So anyway, about this anime movie that we're all watching.
Food fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's next. That's next on the bracket.
Damn straight.
Charlie Sheen masterpiece. Food fight.
Yeah.
One giant brand ad.
I liked Mirai a lot.
I did as well.
Okay, Ian, this is
Yes.
gonna be kind of mean, but me and Jared theorized that you weren't gonna like it.
You think? Well, I'm historically critical of children's films.
Well, you're also like you're also just like kind of an ass, you know, and so
okay, that's a little harsh. Like we just think your brain is smaller and your cognitive functions are like worse than ours.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
and your wiener.
Yes.
Oh, like Yuko?
Anything else?
No. Okay, so you did really like it. What?
Yes, I did.
What did you? I guess it's a dumb question. What did you like about it? Like,
Yeah. I thought it was executed nearly flawlessly.
Mhm.
I was hard pressed to find any sort of structural
Yeah.
problems with it. I was interested the entire time. I liked every character, and every character had their own little arc. And like I could see their vulnerabilities and their strengths, and I could see how those evolved.
Yeah.
And some of them even symbolically represented and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I was emotionally invested and moved at multiple points. I was brought close to tears in Mirai,
hell yeah!
and I was not brought close to tears by Grave.
Dude,
of
I
the
don't know.
Fireflies.
Well, no slander on Grave of the Fireflies.
No, I'm not. Not slander, but it's.
No,
it is
I'm saying for
definitely
me, no slander yet. But I am.
Is that coming?
I'm very, very happy to hear that you feel that way, because I did love Mirai, and I kind of want to. And you already knew this because you came over and he watched it here,
Yeah.
with me. But I've seen it 3 times, and I saw it for the first
Okay.
time Wednesday. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So I started watching it Wednesday night. Wait. No, did you come up here on Wednesday, or did you come up
I
here?
came
Thursday.
Thursday
Okay,
night.
okay. Yeah. So I did watch on Wednesday. I watched on Wednesday. It's Sunday right now.
Today is Sunday. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know you were about to say that. Sorry.
You can't read my thoughts. What kind of friend are you?
A
No, but,
bad one.
No, I watched it for the first time on Wednesday, and so I started watching the sub, because most of the time I watch the subtitles for non-weebs in listening or watching. And I usually do, but this will be important because I watched it, and I don't know why I felt this way, and I kind of retract this later. But for the first half of that movie, I hated it. Like, I was like,
Really?
fuck this kid. Fuck this movie. Like, I don't
Like
get
I said,
this.
apathy. Apathy.
No. It was much more than apathy. It was hatred. No, it wasn't hatred. I just thought he was kind of shrilly and a little whiny. And not just that. Like, I just thought, like, it's not that I didn't know where it was going, but I just kind of didn't like the choices that it started making, the weird kind of, like, abstractions or verisimilitude of, is it in his head, is it not, which I don't think matters, but the kind of, the lessons he was learning felt a little patronizing at first to me, and I was like, God, man, I really wanted to like this movie. And then it started to be like, okay, this is kind of all right. Like, there were some good moments. I think the first thing that I wrote down about, like, something being good was that scene where he goes and sees his mom when he's younger, when she's younger, and
Yeah.
they're at the table and they're throwing the candy around. They're like, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good. Like, I fucking loved that. And so
Yeah, that was
from
good.
that moment, I started to shift, and I started to like it more and more and more. And by the climax of that movie, I was in tears.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that was so fucking good. So the movie
Yeah.
ended, and I like sat and I watched the credits because they had the little images that were just from the movie.
Yeah.
Or anything. But I watched the credits and
Oh my god, I watched on Netflix and it was trying its best to
Yes.
force me
oh my
out
God.
of
You have
the
to go
thing.
up to the top. Yeah, I hate that shit. You have to go up to the top and click
Yeah.
watch credits like within the first 10 seconds, or it like fucks with
Yeah.
you. It'll like start Kid
I
Cosmic
clicked. It was
or
like
some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like you should watch these things, and I was like, no, I don't
Over
wanna
and
watch
over,
these
it'll
things.
try.
And it
It'll
just
keep
exited
trying.
out of the
yeah.
whole thing.
Which it sucks. I hate that. Sometimes I just want to, especially, and I think I've bitched about this to you before, but being like, I hate that it auto plays a trailer for something afterwards.
A trailer for something. And what kind of maniac gets to the end of a movie and immediately starts another movie?
Okay, well,
maybe you, but
not another movie. Sometimes I have done another movie. I definitely used to theater hop a lot, but
yeah.
So I finished the credits, and I turned around, and I watched the dub. Like I started the movie over, and I watched it the second time. I will say I usually prefer the sub, and I think I did still prefer the sub, but the little kid who did the dub, fire. One of the best
really
4-year-old acting. He sounded a little bit older, but great performance from him. And it's also hard for me to judge. I don't want to like sound a little like offensive or out of touch, but like it's hard for me to judge the nuances of acting chops that aren't in my own native language, I guess. Like, yeah, I can tell if I'm listening to like an old school like Gundam anime that like was made on like $5.
Yeah.
Like the shitty fucking like voice acting, but like almost every one of these movies that we're watching on this bracket, like they all seem good to me. Like but when it's in English, I can kind of detect the acting a little bit more. Funny enough, this is like only my second favorite movie that stars John Cho, where architecture gets in the way of his familial relationships. So, kind of interesting. It's
you gotta make
a little letterbox list. That doof insurance meme of being like if I had a nickel for every time John Cho played somebody who architecture got in the way of his family, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. But no, the kid was really good. And I immediately watched it again, and after watching it over, I was like, God, I fucking love this movie. Like, I don't know what I was bitching. And then he and Lydia watched it 2 or 3 days later.
And you watched it with them again?
The beginning and the end. Like, I skipped the middle to set up some of the stuff we're recording this. But I rushed through it so I could come and watch the movie again. So I watched I would say like 70% of that movie over again in the sub again. I fucking loved it. It was so good. But I just kind of wanted to. That was kind of long-winded to say I watched it 3 times in a row.
That's good. That says a lot. Not Calvin. Fucking Jarrett. What were your initial thoughts? See, that's why I'm not the host.
Yeah,
we're all the hosts.
That's why I just.
We'll cut
true.
it out. We'll cut it out. Sorry, he'll cut it out.
No,
he'll cut it out.
No, we won't. There's no way he's cutting it out.
Yeah.
So when I heard Houston hated the child in it, I actually was leaning towards, okay, the child's probably not that bad. And so we turned on the movie, and Lydia was watching it with us, or with me. And
Lydia's my partner, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, you said it earlier in the
podcast. Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Well, that was like an hour ago.
Yeah, dude, they can't remember that shit. Like, what the fuck?
Okay, sorry, yes. Houston's partner, Lydia, was watching it with me. And I was going in. I mean, yes, the kid Kun is, he's a child. So I can, if you hate children, then yes, you will find him annoying. But I didn't mind him. But yeah, my notes are just...
You didn't mind him?
No, I didn't mind him at all.
Okay. I thought that was building up to, like, he said he was bad. I didn't know it was going to be that.
No.
That's what I thought.
It wasn't that bad. I really think I was just projecting in the first
watch
was. Through.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Freud. Fucking diagnosing me over here. Damn.
My notes.
You definitely.
My notes are purely plot points. Just kind of. There's not any
just listing.
Yeah, there's not any overarching themes or any sort of things like. I liked that specifically the scenes where he was time traveling. I took it as he's just imagining, but
yeah. I don't think it matters.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't he come out knowing things that he shouldn't, that no one ever told him?
There were. Do you need to finish a point before I go off on this one, or?
Let me say one quick thing.
We'll come. Put a pin in that.
And I will offer a quick point to what I think you're going to come to is that.
All right.
So I thought it was his imagination, and I specifically made a note of the quick cuts, and there's a term for it. Do you remember in the Beach Bum where a conversation is happening normally, but it's a different scene?
I wrote that down too.
What are those called?
So there's no.
They do that in Or what's that French guy that used to...
Godard, Jean-Luc Godard. It's just spliced edited. But Harmony Korine, who did in Spring Breakers, hella, but like a little bit in The Beach Bum. He calls it a liquid narrative.
That's what it was. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. It wasn't.
There wasn't a whole lot of that in
No.
Mirai,
It happened
but
I think twice.
There
to
were
me.
yeah. So I remember it happened with the mom, and I think it happened once with the grandma. Yes, sorry,
Yeah,
the
at the
grandma,
beginning.
and I think it happened once with Coon in one of the garden sequences. I don't remember. Anyways, not just the liquid narrative, but just specifically certain cuts whenever Coon was interacting with not his parents, but he was interacting with the future, the time iterations of his family members. I very much liked the way it was like, it's easy to tell what's going on, but it felt very jumpy and kind of like, almost like if I was not paying attention, it might be a bit hard to follow if I snap back in a second. And
Like
I think
a kid was remembering it.
I think it was very intentional to be like, my memories as a child are very like, okay, I remember I was there for this, but I remember these like 3 specific things happening. So if I were to play that back in my mind, it would just jump from these 3 things.
It could happen anywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not the location is what matters, but it's just the.
Yes.
And that's more related to The Beach Bum than it is to like a full liquid narrative. For anyone who doesn't know, Ian, do you know what a liquid narrative?
I get context. Just
You've seen Spring Breakers, right? And I know
Yeah.
it happens in way more movies, but the way that Harmony Korine described it, it's why how like the same conversation happens in different locations to recontextualize what it means. So there's always like a phone call to her grandma from back home, but like sometimes it'll happen while she's in the pool, and sometimes it'll happen while they're partying, and sometimes it'll happen, and it's almost like narration, but it's a lot more diegetic than that. Like
I love the Beach Bum
Mhm.
Yeah, the
example
Beach Bum does
on the
it, but-
basketball court. Yeah.
The basketball court, they do it on the golf course with him and
Mhm.
Jonah Hill, I think at one point,
Yeah.
where it's like, it doesn't matter where this a lot of people say it was because of budget constraints, or those were the best cuts of each one.
Fuck 'em.
Harmony Korine,
Yeah, I don't
Harmony
see how you
Korine,
could argue
he's
that.
my favorite filmmaker, so I can go on for hours, so I'll be quick. But
But
I think he
yeah,
does
sorry,
everything
sorry.
intentionally like that, like that. So I
Yeah.
think that was kind of like this could happen anywhere in this house.
Yes.
This is just
Yes.
what happened.
Yes.
Mhm.
But that was all. That was all I had to add. So to go into what you were going to say.
Okay, I got you.
What were we going?
I'm gonna be
What were
honest.
we
I
gonna
forgot
say?
as
Whatever
well.
it was.
I forgot.
It wasn't that interesting. I think it was minor. It wasn't like about themes or anything. I think it was
No, I
like,
thought it was.
structural.
I think it was.
Was it?
I think it was.
It
But
was okay.
Oh, yeah. Whether it was in his imagination or not. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So
and,
just
and
like
you, Ian, you were saying like, are there were some things that like he couldn't have known. He came out with new information.
yes,
But I think he did like Mamoru Hosoda, the director, did a good job of planting little seeds in places. So.
Mhm. Yeah.
The grandfather, the great grandfather who had the hurt leg.
Yes.
The mom asked the grandma like, "Hey, like, didn't he race?
Mm-hmm.
Great grandma or whatever, to fucking win her heart." Or it's like, "Oh no, that's bullshit," like, or something. Like,
Yeah.
Kuhn hears that before
he
it
had a hurt
happens,
leg.
and that doesn't happen with everything. But you see the picture of his mom, or his mom with the cat, and be like, "I love cats, but Granny would never let me get a cat."
Mm-hmm.
So there were not every piece of information he knew from the beginning. Like, they didn't set up every single thing, because then it would kind of be obvious. But I don't think it necessarily matters whether it was in his imagination
No.
or not. And I've seen a lot of debate on that, especially when the movie had come out, when it was getting some buzz because of the Oscar, which it ended up losing to The Boss Baby, I'm pretty sure.
Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear that. Don't.
I'm pretty
What,
sure.
for best animated
pretty sure-
feature or best foreign
Animated
film?
feature. No. Boss Baby, not a foreign film. It stars Alec Baldwin.
Good God, I've
Baldwin.
never wanted to die so much as watching that movie. Oh.
You can't tell me that wasn't a good time
That's
though,
a hard
watching
one.
that like that
It was,
midnight
it was
screening.
funny, but thank God I was with
Yeah.
you. If I was by myself, I might have gotten into a slump for like at least a few weeks.
Ironically, and this comes full circle. We were actually supposed to screen, because I used to work at a movie theater, and we would screen the movies before
Oh, yeah,
they would
Ghost
come
in the
out.
Shell?
The remake of Ghost in the Shell, ironically, which is on our bracket and everything. But then the keys, because they're all digital, wouldn't unlock because you don't use a projection reel anymore, because everything's digital now. But the keys wouldn't unlock until the next day, because we'd always screen 2 days before just to make sure the movies worked. So like it was Lydia's last night working there, and she's like, "Well, damn!" Like
Lydia's his partner, by the way.
Wait, who?
Who? What are we
No,
talking
but
about?
so everyone's like, "Well, shit, we all came to see Ghost in the Shell because like that's the only good movie coming out." And so I was like, "Come on, guys, we can't leave, without like all chilling, because we would eat snacks and like make fun of the movies and shit." So what else do we have? She was like, we got the Boss Baby." I'm like, "Fuck it, we're seeing the Boss Baby." Horrible decision, but it was fucking hilarious. Just like making fun of that shit, making monkey shines at the
Sounds
picture
like
show.
a great decision.
But yeah, I was about to look up if it definitely got nominated for an Oscar, and I know it lost to some bullshit. I think it's like the 2018 Oscars or maybe 2017.
So Ian, I love what you said about how structurally sound Mirai was. So like my notes right here specifically denote the 5. I mean, I guess there's 6 because the whole train one can, I guess, kind of be separated to like the actual train station against when he's like with Mirai flying through like the tree of memories and whatnot. But specifically my notes are,
which is cool,
the characters' names, that one note about the bark, the 3D and 2D, and the quick cuts. But the other notes are just like, hey, this is the scene. This was the setup. Here's
what happened.
Here's the scene of him interacting with his family. That's going to hint at whatever he's going to learn.
Yeah.
Here's him. Mm-hmm. Here's what happens when he goes into the garden and interacts with whatever thing, and then eventually the closing scene that shows that he has learned. He's figured out what was causing him trouble in the setup scene, and so it was. Yeah, fantastic. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, I very much agree.
And it never feels like, even though that structure sort of repeats, it never feels like oh, we're doing this again.
Yeah,
oh,
it is new every
never
time.
Like, yeah, and you don't feel like you're starting over whenever one cycle ends.
Yeah.
You don't feel like
they definitely build on each other.
Back with stage 1.
A quick interjection. I was wrong. It definitely lost to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which can be considered as warranted, depending. Yeah, I did like it a lot. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and debate which one I liked more right now, but
yeah,
I can definitely do it. Like I wouldn't be that angry. Like if it went to the boss, if it lost to the Boss Baby, like I'd fucking.
Boss Baby couldn't have been nominated.
The Boss Baby was nominated the year before. It lost to Coco, but the Boss Baby was nominated. Other films that had come out from better studios had been snubbed in favor of some bullshit like the Boss Baby. But apparently Mirai, I'm pretty sure, was the first non-Ghibli movie animated film that was nominated, like as for a Japanese, like foreign film.
Yeah,
I did say anime. What the fuck? But the first non-Ghibli anime that was nominated for an Oscar, which is a huge step.
Hell yeah.
And that's something that I wrote down really early on, which I don't think matters at all, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. That the opening felt really Western in a way, and I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but the aerial shot coming down and the little pop song, coming in and like him like watching for a car through the window. That was the only part that I was like,
I don't know. It felt very anime with like
it felt
like rubbing
I would agree.
You really?
Like
I thought
it felt cutesy.
I mean, if I watched it again, maybe I could see where you're coming from.
No, it doesn't matter whatsoever as far as like the overarching themes. But I thought that was like really interesting, and then I was like, it just felt like more like a traditional Western film, not exactly, than like a Miyazaki film would or something like that. And I just thought it was really funny that like Ghibli films and especially Miyazaki films are like critical darlings in America, whereas like all the other ones don't get near as much recognition from like the global critic scene or the national critic scene, I guess.
Well, excluding the third Naruto movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something Crescent Moon Kingdom. I still can't freaking see it, and I don't want to get up and go get it.
Dude, just mail it to me, please.
Dude, it's
no,
the way you have your DVD stored is the word. It took me like 10 minutes to find The Seventh Seal, And I was like, if this bitch actually...
There's only like 20 movies.
Also, wouldn't it be after the 6th?
Ho!
Who the fuck invited this guy? Can you believe this?
Actually, I need to get a movie for every number. I've got 8.5. I've got the 7th seal. I need the 6th
For every
sense.
number? You're going to get a movie for every number.
The Fifth Element.
Up to 10.
The Fifth
Fifth
Element. I Am Number 4. Three's Company, the movie.
Three Amigos, yeah.
It's getting worse and worse. I Am Number 4? Sorry, we're talking about anime, not fucking liquid garbage.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Mirai. Mirai. Get back to Mirai.
It's getting a little
All
late.
right.
We're getting a little delirious. Getting a little...
Tippeth.
Liddy.
Oh, my God, dude. Are you doing coke?
I am. Little 8-ounce Cokes, too.
Tiny Coke.
Pepsi's better.
Amen, brother. All right. But what I wanted to say...
Mirai was
Oh,
great.
not what I wanted to say. First things first.
I'm the realist.
The realist.
First things first. You know what was not the realest, though? And this is what I'm trying to say. The camera's up there.
So I thought it was your laptop camera.
Not the bride.
Why do we
you
have
realized
a-
your mistake twice?
You thought it
right?
was a laptop? We have
Well,
a
I thought Zoom was your laptop camera. I know we're recording on that, but I thought, don't worry about it, dude. Just
We're using my DSLR as a webcam. That's why it doesn't look like absolute dog ass.
I just thought you had a good camera.
What are you saying?
I'm saying your webcam looks like dog ass, Ian. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
I pull no punches.
I just didn't hear you.
As long as the dog has a reasonable bark.
Back to Mirai,
you're
though.
talking
Back to
about the
Mirai.
Mirai
One,
dog. At least that's related.
one, I do want to say, that kid was nutting during the B game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember how
They could have desexualized
it was
that
a little
bit. Like,
less
he was
sexual in the dub? I was expecting it just because of the way the kid's voice register was. No, it was still like, can we play the game?
Can we do that again?
Oh.
It's so yeah, he's like sort of like not sheepish. What's the word? Like
Horny.
No.
Yeah, I y'all just have to watch it. Like I don't know if I really want to go too far
Yeah,
into this one.
It was odd. I wasn't sure if they were trying to say
Yeah.
something or if that was
Yeah,
just
it was a take on
unintentional.
incestuous relations.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah,
good
dude, I
take,
think
yeah.
this was Mamura Freud. I think he wrote the film, did
Mamura Freud.
the Oedipal complex. But have you guys seen any? I guess what I want to say this, but you guys have you guys seen any Hosoda films before this one?
Name them off.
We got The Boy and the Beast,
No.
Wolf
Nope.
Children.
No.
Ah, fuck.
No.
Girl Who Leapt Through Time.
Heard of that
Girl
one,
Who
though.
Leapt Through Time.
No.
No.
God, there's
5
one more.
centimeters per
Isn't
second.
that this movie?
What is?
No, it's not. No. 5 centimeters per second is. Oh God, what's his
Never
name?
mind.
Shinkai. I think
okay.
is the name. I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm sorry. Let me look and make sure I have. Oh, I know there's one. Oh, Summer Wars.
Nope.
Okay. So, I guess no one else will be able to really speak on this then. So I guess I'll take it in this one.
Ugh. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Try me one more time. What?
Go ahead.
No. So this seems like the culmination of Hosoda's career thus far, and I'd written that down. Is he makes a lot of films about like family, and his studio is I think it's called like Cheesy Studio, something like that. It's and he had founded it, and I think his first project was The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. And then I think after that one, he had started his studio. But this bears a lot of resemblance to at least the movies of his that I've seen before, and what I've heard about the other ones that I still need to see. So the tree that they go into, the family tree, the index, you know how like it's just white space with thin lines, and they're outlined in red.
Yeah.
That appears in, I know at least. That's Summer Wars. That's where the location of the film takes place. Is like in like cyberspace, and it's animated that way. And then also The Girl Who Leapt Through Time is that way as well. But then you got small things like Wolf Children is about a mother learning to raise two
Wolf children.
literal wolf children. and it's got sibling dynamics and how you grow up and things like that, and how the power balance shifts the older that you get. But the biggest thing for me was the mother trying to learn how to manage that. And in Wolf Children, she's a little bit more of a saint than and I guess the mom doesn't have a name in Mirai. She's just mom. But then the mom in Mirai, she has that outburst of like, fuck you, I'm going to take all your toys. Like,
yeah.
And she immediately,
Flaws.
like, I don't know if immediately regrets it, but later when she's talking to the grandma, she's kind of like, I want to be a good mother, but I love my job, and I don't know, like, I'm just lashing out. And, like, I remember being a kid and, like, never cleaning. Like, what the fuck am I becoming? So it's almost like, and I can't say this for sure because I haven't seen every single one of his films yet, but it's almost like it's like an amalgamation of everything he's tried up until this point, and kind of like the most mature or the most well-realized version of the things that he's tried to talk about in the past. And I think that's really interesting, and I think it kind of like becomes like a metatextual theme, and I know I wrote it down somewhere. I'm sorry, I took a lot of notes for this one because I watched it like 3 times.
That makes sense.
Let's see. So it's generational and intergenerational. Yeah, it's like the link to the past and the future is simultaneous. Simultaneous in the film's themes and its production. Beyond just style, Hosoda recreates his own legacy and work with each film. So I thought that was kind of interesting to be, it's like the theme of the movie was like every single thing that has happened in the past, that's happened through our family, is what makes us who we are. And I think to get metatextual almost is like Hosoda's, this film for him was everything he's made through the past, making this what it was. And I think it's his most realized and most poignant, I guess, depiction of that. Because he makes a lot of films about family, and even like when Kun becomes the dog for a second in the most suggestive way possible by shoving the dog's tail up his own ass.
I want to get that.
But he looked less like a dog.
I wanted to clip that.
And more like a wolf to me. Like I saw that and I was like, that's a wolf child right there. And I know that Yuko was a long-haired dog, but he was pretty elongated and he was pretty like
a dachshund.
Dog.
Yeah, like a shaggy dachshund. But and I know it wasn't
Shaggy
supposed to be,
yellow.
but even the logo for his, and I know Miyazaki did this too, is like the logo for Ghibli has Totoro in it.
Mm-hmm.
But even that wasn't his first film. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was like his 4th or 5th, I guess, major production. Somewhere around there. But Hosoda's production company, the logo is the poster for The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, which he made even before he started that production company. And so that and the movies that I've seen of his and how they deal with similar themes, but this seems like a culmination of all of it. I think the themes of family making us who we are, and every choice that we make and everything that's happened in this index has created, we wouldn't be here without it. Like, we're fully and totally realized as extensions of this tree, this literal family tree, because it was a literal tree in the movie.
Yeah.
I think that also applies to like Hosoda's work as a director, which I thought was really fucking cool. It just for me, and I could be reading way too far into this, but I did watch the movie 3 times in a week, so
Yeah, no, I like,
it's hard not to.
it's hard not to pull big fucking things out of that.
I like that interpretation. Good thing we don't have any more of his films on this bracket.
We do. We have.
Yeah. At least we have to have at least one.
Yes. We have all the ones that I named. We have Summer Wars. We have Wolf Children.
So when we get to those movies,
they lose.
If you're wrong, we're gonna tear you apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not. They won't lose automatically because you like them for like Summer Wars is very, very like action heavy. It's almost like really fun. Like it's different. It feels different tonally, but like I think thematically, like this one is like. Why are you laughing?
I'm sorry. That's not what I thought you were gonna say when you go action oriented. I'm sorry,
man. I'm a body languager.
No, I fuck with it.
Native speaker in body language.
Yeah, I hope that the video works for this episode.
Shut
all
up,
that
Ian.
lands.
You just fucking jinxed it. Oh my god, my camera just exploded. Fuck
Oh
you,
my
Ian.
god. Oh
no. I just shit myself.
We've got to strike.
This is where you got to sleep, though. You're sleeping on this couch. Damn.
Well, it's still in my jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I wanted to say about, like, and I guess that was, like, pretty heavy theme first. I probably could have gone to some of the lighter things. But yeah.
No, I dig it.
I went hard, and I think you guys will. I'm hoping at least. I think I'm right, or not right, but I think like it's a good interpretation. I think you guys will probably like see what I'm talking about a little bit better once we get farther down into his films.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
Well, Ian, do you have any thoughts that we've not discussed yet,
Thematically, at least,
or just
talked
in
about
general?
the plot for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. For so yes, kind of. I guess they're not super developed, but it's very powerful in a way that's hard to sort of describe. Yeah. And I think they kind of just had to show it.
Mm-hmm.
But like the importance of family. But it's I guess it's just different people in general.
Yeah.
But it's very specifically family in this one. And it was just a darn good movie, especially when it comes to the end and you see how everyone's changed. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention thematically. They for some reason, not necessarily, it's not inherently a bad thing, but they introduce the idea that the dog experienced the same thing that that Kun is now experiencing, right?
That was like the first interaction he had that was like multi-reality.
Mm-hmm. And we see him and like leaving his mom in like one of the flashback things. And then everyone's sort of like personal emotional relationship thing is like sort of addressed by the end of the movie and not wrapped in a nice bow, but still addressed. Yeah. And then they specifically show the dog at the end to show that his hasn't been addressed, and then the movie just ends.
Oh, like, what do you mean?
I don't know why they brought it up.
Yeah.
Because he was like, nobody pays attention anymore. I used to be called, they used to be. And then at the end, they're like, wow, Kun's so good and blah, blah, blah. And then he has to say to himself, and I'm a good boy. Like, no one is addressing him. Everyone's just ignoring him.
I think he had already accepted his position before that.
I know. But I'm wondering why they could have like thrown in a throwaway line, like, and you're like, someone else could have called him a good boy.
I think it was more like we had already seen.
Or he didn't say
I think we'd already seen Kun, I guess, become sympathetic to Yuko's plight, the dog's plight, like early and like immediately after he learned, he plays with him, like they go fucking like spend time together. So I think with the dog already accepting his position, and I think because Kun was our perspective for most of it. I mean, I didn't know we did jump away from him, especially in that scene, but like I think Kun had already developed a better appreciation for Yuko, and I think that was enough. But also at the same time, like you could just be like, "Oh fuck!" Like I think the dog's not as important as the humans.
Well, I think
exactly. But you just like if he's not as important, then you could just not bring him up. And
I think that was supposed to be played as a joke, like that, like, and I'm a good boy. Yeah. Like I think that was kind of like supposed to be like a aha.
Yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah, sorry,
Jarrett?
The jet plane.
J-Rod.
This is a stretch, by the way.
Jer Bear.
However, Peanut, as I'd like to be called.
Peanut.
Yeah. I liked. Actually, this may not be even. It's not a good point. Now that I'm thinking about it, don't worry. I was going to say there's a very, 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 very stretched parallel between Yuko and Kun, and so like when they fly through the tree later on, and they show like Yuko had to say goodbye to his mother, and grow from that, and that was it. It was just like Yuko has grown similar to how Kun has grown.
Yeah,
and yes,
I think that was the first interaction. Yeah. I think that's what it said. He was like, "Dude, I used to be the fucking prince of the house. Like you're going through what I've already been through." So I think you're right. I think that just reiterated that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was a good point.
Except Yuko, what was his name? Yuko's the dog. Yeah.
Yes.
Except he gets screwed. Actually, he does get better dog food.
He does get better.
Forgot about that. Yeah, that is true.
Exactly.
How badass was that?
Well, it's visually implied that he gets better.
No. He literally says to Yuko, like, "Guess we're gonna have to get you some better food." And he's like,
"I'll go get that now." Like,
yeah.
But yes, it is. It is visually implied that the next time he gets a bowl of food, like it's yes.
That is the
yes,
is
you're
the new
correct.
dog
But
food,
like
yeah.
we can assume that it was.
He doesn't pour a box that says new dog food across the front into the bowl and
Yeah, just hold my hand the whole
but-
movie. Just
So-
fucking
yeah, exactly.
please.
Here is the new dog food. Now you eat the
It's
new
about
dog food.
family.
It's about family.
No, I think there's some. I need to like look a little bit
So-
through this because like there were so many things that I wanted to fucking
Mm-hmm.
talk about.
You better get going.
So I shed
We're pushing our 2 hours.
I shed 2 tears.
Oh shit!
2
two
tears in
tears.
Mirai.
less than
Yes,
than the
one
5
less-
total from
No, there were 3 total for Grave of the Fireflies.
3.
One from
Okay.
each eye, and then another for the right eye. And Mirai shed 1 from both eye, and it was specifically the witnessing of. Sorry, I'm about to cry right
Yeah.
now. Just talking about it, it's just so good. Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah. When they're flying through the tree and they see in person the
The race.
yes, the race with the grandfather.
Yeah.
And as a person who is truly in love, it spoke to me
Oh.
quite a bit, and I don't know, it just moved me.
Were
And
you trying to insinuate that neither of us, neither I or Ian, are or have been in love?
Our
no, I was insinuating that as a boy in love and being a bit of a bussy boy with my emotions, it made me shed a couple tears. That's what I was getting at, and I loved that scene.
I loved it. I was smiling.
It was great. It was,
uncontrollably.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And
a good one.
that was really smart how they set that
I
up
did
as
like
well.
how they set that one up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Also,
And then the influence. They said if she hadn't let him win,
Yeah.
we wouldn't exist.
Also, I
Like,
think-
it seems insignificant in the moment, but it's has massive.
also,
significance.
I think this is a really cool thing, and I haven't seen this as well in maybe Hosoda's other films, and I could just be like making it up in my brain, but I think I could see familial resemblance in the characters in the movie. And
Oh yeah,
that's really
yeah.
hard with like animated films because usually it's like
yeah.
same hair colors of any era of the world. It's like same shape of a, but it was just the reactions that we have, and especially I saw that with like the dad and the great grandfather.
Oh yeah. Well, I think Coon as well. There's there was when they were looking in the picture book, his mom was like, "That's your uncle." I don't remember his name. That's your uncle,
Yeah.
whatever.
And it looked
I mean,
exactly
yeah,
like
it looked just like Coon.
Yeah, but
So-
I kind of like
Yeah.
appreciate it more a little bit in like the reactions and things like that. Like I think that's just that's so, or just in the mannerisms. Yeah, like
yeah.
I'm thinking of it as being like Coon's dad's reaction to like when he's learning to ride the bike
Mhm.
and things like that. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
And then the great grandfather when he's riding the bike and he's like, "Hey," which was probably my favorite line of the whole film.
That was really
And he was
really
like, "Hey,
cute.
Dad," and he's like, "What?" Even though it's not his dad, and he was just like,
Oh.
"This is really cool." He's like, "Oh yeah, like it's cool." He's like, "No, I mean," and then it just cuts from
Yeah.
there. I loved
Yeah.
that. That was probably my second
Yeah.
favorite line in the film. My first was the final line, when he just
Mhm.
when he
The
just
what?
sees, yeah.
Oh hi.
Yeah. So when he's screaming, well, one, he's been saying no the whole film, which I thought was kind of interesting that it ended on him being like, "Yeah," because they're like, "Are you ready to go?" He's like, "Yeah."
Oh
But
yeah.
I love that the last thing that he saw as far as like traveling through time was Mirai from the present, which he visited there, and like he was just him as an adult or him as a teenager was like a dick to her, man, like just being like, don't do that.
Yes.
Sit at the table, don't be barbaric. And I like that.
Yeah.
And he had already brought the banana with him in the well, I'll get to that.
No.
but,
Sorry, I'm not laughing. Sorry.
he had already
Don't
brought
worry.
the banana in his backpack because when he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna run away forever," he grabbed a banana in a juice box, like any smart, super
4-year-old.
tramp would,
Super
Yeah.
tramp.
But
Oh yeah.
but so later she's like eating the banana. And he's like, "Don't do that. Don't sit there. Go sit at the table. Don't be barbaric." So he goes back
Yeah.
home, and after witnessing that, and after like truly coming to the realization that like he should love Mirai, like, or he should, like be more tolerant. I guess that's a kind of a defeatist way of putting it, tolerant, but you know what I mean. But how
Mhm.
he goes and he pulls the banana out of his backpack, and he like splits it, and he gives her a piece. She had offered him a piece, and when as future Mirai, she had offered him a piece, and he gives baby Mirai a piece, and then the last thing that they do together is just scream, which is the most barbaric thing you could do without like clubbing someone over the head, I guess, in that situation specifically.
Or a seal.
Or a seal, yes. Or being
seal.
named Conan, or, something like that. But how the first true emotional interaction that the two of them engage with as present Coon, baby Mirai, are like just fucking screaming, like just barbaric, eating bananas, being happy and smiling, and I
like
love that entire
a bunch of monkey
sequence.
brains.
Yes, yeah, but fuck it, it's just like unbridled emotion and empathy and love,
Yeah.
like fucking monkey brain, whatever.
Yeah.
I did like that a lot, and I think that was probably my favorite part of the film. Was that right there? Also,
That was
I
good.
do want to say that the first instance where they had to put the dolls away and stuff like that, that was like every tailing mission in like a GTA game. For some reason, they're like creeping up.
I don't see the connection.
They're creeping up on the dad. He like turns around and looks directly at them, but he's too distracted to see them, so they're just like fucking freeze.
Yeah, that was cute.
It was
that
funny.
Was fun little.
It was funny. I liked it.
Yeah.
And the house. I know that he was an architect. The dad was an architect, and he was playing Minecraft on his computer the whole time. Well, it wasn't Minecraft. It was some architecture program, but it looked like Minecraft, low-key.
Yeah.
For a half a second, I thought it was Minecraft.
Oh.
For like a minute, I was like, "Damn, dude! Like I thought he was supposed to be working. I thought he was working from home, not just like building worlds." But so he's an architect, and like that house was
really
cool
funny.
as fuck. Like it was, modern, but I think it served like a really cool functional purpose in the movie. Like the way it was set and structured was really fucking cool. And I think the best part about it was not only that it like surrounded the tree and stuff, but the first aerial shot from the opening of the movie is just a normal small house. And then you start to see the pictures of like, how the opening credits, they just play pictures?
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember that? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like her getting pregnant and him like building more of a house. And they refer to the fact that like he was not very available when Coon was first born. Like he was he was just kind of wrapped up in work. And then after they do all the pictures, you get the aerial shot again, and the house is elongated, and that's just to show us the passage of time, right? Like to show us that it's in the future, and it's a couple of years in the future. He's finished this house. He's an architect, whatever. But once they mention the fact that he was not emotionally available when Coon was born up until recently, because he was just so wrapped up in being an architect. Going back to that shot, I think it's really cool because of how long the house is. Thin, right? It's literally squeezed
one room
between
thin.
two other houses.
Phallic,
I think it's
almost.
Not where I was going, but with the amount of times that Coon made cum noises at the B game, it might be
the B game.
But the fact that he was literally trying to physically, because it was like wedged between two other normal houses, he was trying to shove his work into this suburban or this family life. I thought that was kind of cool. Like that they made it thin and long and like just shoved in there. He was like, "Oh, I can do this. I can fit this. I can make this fucking like house, and I can fit it in between these two things." In the same way, he was like, "I can balance work and family," and the mom did that later too as well, where she's like, "Oh, I can go back to work," and she was like, "I'm putting too much on my plate. I'm lashing out at my children. I want to be the best mom ever, but I'm trying to make this fit into put a square peg in a circle, kind of thing." And I thought after learning that opening shot recontextualized was really, really cool. And I don't know if it was intended that way, but that's just the way that I took it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it was very cool. I liked it just for its like created like three separate little worlds all in one sort of like it sort of like felt like
Roblox.
like a stage
Yes,
play,
it did
sort of
feel like a
with
stage play.
thick walls.
You see that like different locations.
So you could put like his room, like the dream room, and then the family room, I guess. Oh, but are we supposed to believe? Well, actually, never mind. I'm not going back to that.
That it's real or not?
Yeah, I was going back to that. I was gonna say, did he put?
He put the stuff away, for sure.
He put the stuff away.
Whether or not there was an
How did he's like a 4-year-old?
Yeah, but he put it away.
Well, that's sort of what I was saying. Is like a kid with an imaginary
Adult-sized people put it away in the dream.
Well, but like
Yeah.
that's the point. Is we're sort of viewing it through Coon. We're viewing it sort of as a child.
Either
And
way,
so if we
somebody
have
put it
an-
away. A child put
Yes,
it away
it is.
somehow, whether it was future
Yes.
Mirai or him or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, I like how he kept drawing his
yeah.
mom as a witch.
Yeah. Also, that children's book he was reading, what was that called? Like The Demon and the Mustache
yeah.
Man or
Yeah.
something?
I was finding
That
it
was
really
cool.
cool because he called her an Onibaba at
Yeah.
one point, which is Japanese for witch. But she looked more like, I guess, like what Western media would call like a depiction of something like satanic, like a red face and horns and stuff. I don't know.
She's
Have
got
either of you guys
horns,
seen the
yeah.
film Onibaba, like the black and white Japanese
No.
film? It's pretty cool, but yeah,
No.
the woman pretends to be the Onibaba, the witch, but she wears like a kabuki type mask with
Mhm.
like horns, and I just always thought like that's really interesting that like a witch in other cultures, or at least what translates to witch, is not necessarily like a magical green broom riding kind of thing.
person.
It was more of a
Yeah.
Well, it's possible.
demonic kind of fucking
It's very possible, and because a lot of not just no or type of theater masks, but just there are a lot of masks that are purely based on like Japanese folklore, because Japanese folklore contains a lot of spirits and demons
yes,
and whatnot.
that's
so
the Onibaba mask.
yeah.
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 You should watch that movie. It's a really good movie. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic film.
Hell
I did want to mention that fucking cake that they were eating that had like the jello inside of it.
Looked banging.
It looked
Yeah.
banging. I want that shit.
You'll look it
I
up.
want so
Maybe
much.
there's a recipe.
Yeah, yeah. What would it be called? Jello cake?
Architectural Jello cake.
Minecraft.
Minecraft Jello cake.
Yeah. If I had to,
You're
if
gonna
I
find
had to
some
give
weird-
one,
Minecraft cake. I amused
I
myself.
mean,
I'm
all
sorry.
Minecraft characters do have some mad cake, though. If I had to, and we'll compare in just a second, because we should be getting close to the end.
Okay.
But
Mm-hmm,
if I had to say one thing that I wish would have happened in this movie, like I wish would have been different, and this is just a personal thing, I really, really, really wanted there to be a scene of him a little bit older, or maybe not even a little bit older, but just playing the B game with like a younger Mirai. In a way to be like, to create that kind of like, not in that way, not like a sexual way, but like in a fucking like the time loop way, to where like he put the little note in his mom's shoe to get a bicycle after he had seen that happen in his portal to young mom, and she was like, I wonder where he got that fucking idea. And I think it would be so cool to where like future Mirai visits him early on, and he's like, no, I don't want to fucking help you. She's like, well, maybe we can play the B game. And like they play it. He's like, okay, whatever. I'll do whatever you want. And later he shows it to her as like a younger version. And so it's almost to like that future version of Mirai like knew that would have worked on a young Coon because she learned it from him. I really thought that's where the movie was going to go.
Paradox.
Yeah. I thought the movie was going to put that one in there. Like, I thought it was going to be cool. It's not that big of a gripe
now.
or
Well,
anything like that. I think
when you
it'd be
said
cool.
like, when you said older
An older Coon.
Coon.
I was thinking of the old. I had like the visual of the older Coon that they actually show.
No.
In the video, and then you were like, and then he plays the B game on like a younger kid, and I was thinking like, no, that would have been so bad. Like he's just like,
Yeah,
going,
but
like
just
a
I meant
4-year-old.
more like a
That would've been
fucking like
weird,
a 4 or 5 year old Coon playing on a 1 or 2 year old Mirai kind of thing, like a
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
child's thing, not like an 18-year-old Coon fucking like doing giblets on his fucking the jibby jabs. But
That's the right
Fanfic
idea.
idea for you.
Ian, you write lots of fan
The
fictions,
B
don't you?
game. I do.
All right,
What
does
do we-
does
that'll be the
anybody
next
have
one I
like any more big themes or plot points they want to mention about Mirai before we do a mad comparison and a quick outro?
I don't think
I don't
so.
think so. I love the dad.
Yeah.
The dad
You
was
should
great.
watch the dub. John Cho's a fantastic actor. I mean, I like the sub better, but
Mm-hmm,
I did like the dad a lot.
Yeah.
That's
That's all I had. Just
all you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you, Ian?
Yeah, I stopped taking notes when the dog turned into a person.
So like 15 minutes into the movie.
So I'm basically done. Yeah, I have like a half a page of notes before then, and then nothing until the end.
Wow.
But it was final notes. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a great movie.
I do like that.
Well,
I would say.
Oh,
Oh, well,
sorry,
my
go ahead.
last
Hard-pressed to
thing that I
find a
want to
flaw.
say about this before we do the comparison, which I think we're all going to come to a general consensus by the way we've talked about these two movies. So
Yes,
spoiler.
yes.
Well, but I thought that like each like moment of chaos in the film, it was, and I think this goes back to what you said, Ian, about structure and what you had added to
Yeah.
that, Jarrett. But each moment of chaos is kind of like broken up by a quiet moment or an introspective moment or a reflective moment. I know all those can kind of go hand in hand. All those adjectives can. But there was always like every moment of like anger and frustration and a lashing out was followed by some kind of moment of, I guess, of like love and understanding. And whereas in, and I'll bring this up when we compare, but whereas in Grave of the Fireflies, like, you're meant to feel distance, or at least that's what I felt. This movie just like begs you to be empathetic. Like it's like,
Yes.
let yourself go, like fucking experience these emotions with these characters. And it really was so true to growing up with siblings. And I don't know if either of you guys can relate with you, but me especially having like both an older and a younger sister is like I those moments of bitterness and gripe and just absolute fucking tantrums and meltdowns were always followed up by some of the most tender and understanding moments. And I just thought it really did it so fucking well, whether it be with him and the parents or him and Mirai or just him and the fucking dog. Like,
Yeah.
just to have, you never got too, and I know it was my issue when I first watched it. I thought he was so fucking annoying and I didn't like the movie, but that was just me not allowing myself to actually sit there and feel, sympathize with him or sympathize with the parents or anything like that. Like, I was just like, oh fuck, everyone's annoying, stop, shut up. Like, but when I finally, like,
I could see that.
and it was once he had started going back to see his mom and his great grandfather, and I couldn't help myself, just started to empathize and started to feel with them. I was like, damn, this really does never let you get bogged down with that frustration or that, tantrum or anything, or that just like pain. Like, it really does a good job of lifting you right out of that. And it just reminded me a lot of growing up with siblings, and I think it was really cool. So that's probably my final thoughts on the film, aside from the greatest scene in comedic history.
Oh, that shit was funny.
What show is that?
Funny.
Did you notice this shit when he fucking when he traveled to the great grandfather and he was in the little shed where the great grandfather was working on the motorcycle, and the dude turns around, he's like, "Oh, what the fuck are you doing here?" And the way he just like shuffles.
Yeah,
It was like,
back and forth.
It was so funny. Have you ever? Did you ever see Lego? Was it Lego Batman 1 or 2?
There's only one.
Oh, Lego Batman.
Did you ever see the Lego Batman movie?
There's a very similar.
I did not.
There's a very similar comedic scene that's just it's just wonderful. I'll have to show you.
It was just so very like quick and so very like stuttery and jittery and just fucking
Yeah.
and he was like the whole time. It was so funny.
Yeah. His
Definitely-
his hands, arms like by
Definitely
his
was one of the
side.
funniest
It
movies
was-
I've
it
fucking
was-
seen.
It was funny.
Yeah. But anyway,
So yeah, I was about to say, Ian, do you want to move us to the final section?
yeah, final section, because you are going to do the outro, Ian.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna do the
first we need
outro?
to compare and make sure we're on the same page so we can decide
and
which
then
movie.
decide.
Yeah, which movie moves on.
My voice did crack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now do you want me to do it the way you guys
No,
did?
no, you don't have to do the outro right now, but just
Do it uniquely.
You start
Do
with
it
your
uniquely.
comparison and the themes that you had that
Okay.
linked them and which one you think should move on.
Okay. I think Someday soon, you'll cut that.
No, I'm not cutting that. That's gold.
I thought that the I'm running on empty here. Sorry. They were. I liked Mirai better.
Okay.
That's the one I want to go forward. I feel like Mirai they both made attempts. See, earlier, one of the things, we don't have to discuss it because it's back to what we were doing, but like you said, like Mirai begs you to like become emotionally involved. But I think that there are times where
Grave of the
Fireflies does the same thing. Yeah, sorry. Grave of the Fireflies does the same thing.
Yeah.
And there were times when I noticed, like, this wants me to feel this way, right? Like, where the music will swell and you'll go, like, okay, that's what this is. But I didn't notice it as much. I was just there. I feel, obviously, they're going for very different things, but the emotions got me.
That's fair.
And Mirai is so much more.
So that's your vote, Mirai?
I think that's my vote.
All right.
Yeah. I wish I had more.
It's all good. You might think of some
complex
stuff
analysis.
while Jarrett's missing the point or something. No, okay. What are your final thoughts about the two of them?
I think they're both good and both worth watching. Though,
for sure.
Despite not enjoying Grave of the Fireflies as much as I think I previously did, I still think it's a good movie and should be watched.
Oh, yeah.
And I was going in thinking I wouldn't like Mirai based on the plot
me
that
too.
I'd read, but I fucking love that movie,
Hell yeah.
and I'm absolutely gonna buy it at some point.
Oh fuck yeah, for sure.
And I think comparison-wise, to me, the most you can make is just sort of the sibling and family relationships, as well as specifically the older brother dynamic.
Yeah.
And I think they both approach it in different ways, and they both do it well.
Yeah.
But Mirai had more to offer beyond that.
Okay.
To me at least. So I also choose Mirai.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
Well, I'll wrap up with my thoughts. I do
Love to see
agree.
it.
And I did pair them because of the sibling relationship. And what I ended up finding is that was there, but it was in total contrast, which I thought was very interesting, how one took it from like an older brother looking out for his little sister from the get-go and sacrificing his own needs for her. And then Mirai was the exact opposite. And I think they're both opposites in the way that, like, and I kind of disagree a little bit, Ian, but like the way that Grave of the well, you had said like you felt it begging.
Yeah, I know.
And I felt Grave of the Fireflies pushing, and you couldn't help but be drawn back in to where, like, to Mirai it was like you wanted to distance yourself, but it was pulling you. And I thought the contrast was really cool, and I think Grave of the Fireflies is super important as far as the themes that it deals with as well, are a little bit more macro than Mirai.
Yeah.
But as far as Takahata films that I've seen, I like his art style when he strips it down and does like hand drawings with, and you'll see this later when we watch a few more of his films, but kind of like more oil paintings where like the edges of the frame are vignetted by like white paper. It's really fantastic and very minimal, but I prefer that, and I know Grave of the Fireflies is seen as like one of his seminal works, but I think his later stuff is actually, or at least appeals to me a little bit more, and I think this is probably, from what I've seen at least, peak Hosoda, and I loved the animation. It was beautiful both physically and metaphysically, to me. Also, the fucking music. I can't believe I forgot to mention that shit. The music in Mirai.
In Grave of the Fireflies?
Grave of the
Mirai.
Fireflies, it was great music. But in Mirai, I just felt something different. It did something to me, man. It definitely did something to me. So I think I'm also going to vote for Mirai based on animation and music and theme. As great as Grave of the Fireflies is, and please, everyone, watch both of these films. Grave of the Fireflies was on Hulu, if you have Hulu. If not, it's on the internet. No, pirate things. The people who own this are giant corporations. Pirate it. Fuck it. Movies should be free. And Mirai's on Netflix. Or pirate it, because movies should be free. But that's a whole nother soapbox.
You watch it
That's a
either way,
soapbox
yeah.
I'll get on when we come across some particularly boring films. I'll give a
Yes,
whole
sure.
45-minute
That may
rant.
happen.
That's our
Why copy?
first. That's our first sweep. That's our
Yeah,
first.
yeah, I know,
sweep.
and I never expected
It's
it
our
to
only. It's our
it was-
only sweep.
be. It was
Technically,
a
this is the
sweep
first,
of
Yeah.
but in all technicality.
This is the first one.
We're probably though we did record an episode previously to this, and we might drop that one, but it there are a few elements that render it kind of unusable, so we're probably gonna have to go back and redo it.
It's still the first sweep, even if this is the first episode.
You're absolutely correct, but that's what I was
That's
saying.
true.
It's like, yeah, it's the
Yeah.
first sweep, but it's also
It's
like
a
the
sweep.
first decision we've even fucking come to.
Yeah.
At least canonically, but
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that spoils. The other one is not a.
it's not a sweep, but they don't know
But
what it is.
One of the most.
What a fuck.
Yeah, that's true. One of the most famous anime movies, as far as
Naruto
Fireflies,
3?
for sure.
the sweat.
No, it is. It is. I think it is kind of blasphemous, and especially if people are listening to this, the fact that like, especially if you haven't seen Mirai, like, it probably seems like crazy that we're fucking choosing something over Grave of the Fireflies, and I just want to let you know, like, you're absolutely
Don't be
right.
a bitch.
Don't be a bitch.
Don't be a
but
bitch.
You're
Just watch
absolutely right.
Mirai.
Grave of the Fireflies is fantastic, and it should have won. But go watch Mirai,
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then come back and,
I was-
and
I
see
was
how
thinking-
legitimate that statement sounds. I mean, and you can like whatever the fuck you want. Like you can pick whatever, and that's why you should be able to download and print
No,
the
you
bracket and do one of your own. But I guess
That's
in all of
true.
our personal brackets, and in the ultimate bracket, Mirai's moving on.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
right.
I was not expecting it. I wasn't expecting.
I really wasn't
unanimous
expecting it to be
decision there at all.
unanimous either. I really thought Grave of the Fireflies was going to prevail in this one. But
yeah,
it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it is fantastic.
Ian, you wanna
I'd like
lead
to
us
see it.
out before we listen
Yes.
to the Gordita the Crunch verse.
You've been listening to 102.2 The Grundle on FM radio. It's 2 a.m. here in Ontario, and we're closing out for the night. Peace on earth.
Little men
Uh,
and women.
Take a shot. Huh? You
Yeah,
saying
goodwill to
women?
men and women.
Oh. And bonjour.
All right, from now on, Ian does not do the outros. It's been Spaghetti and Meatballs podcast. We thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. You have a good night.
Bonjour.
Hair.
Call me Peen to the Een.